Hey, everybody, GameHounds podcast. How are you? Sorry we're late. I don't know even why I say sorry we're late. This is about the time we start anyway. Yeah, Nick is reading because he didn't prep the show. Apparently,
No, I
5 minutes
did.
ago he put the t-shirt on and he's still in his pajama
Well, okay.
bottoms.
The shirt, yes, clothing. I read the news articles about Apple, but there's a lot of technical details there because there's a lot of like, okay, you told us to do X. We did X and A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That probably undercuts X, but we did it anyways.
Yeah. So
A
without
lot of
going into too much
technical
detail.
details.
So to catch you up, what was my week was like? I Okay, so I think I mentioned that our our office where I work, the building's infested with termites, so we don't know how well that's gonna go. Then we get a notification from the San Francisco Department of Public of Water, Power and Water, that our bill is super high and maybe we might have a leak. So I looked in and see how many gallons we used in January. 15,000 gallons. We normally use 500. So somewhere along the line, 14,500 gallons of water has disappeared. So, and there's no evidence of that anywhere, which means that it might be underground. Also, not my problem, but at the same time, it is because if we have a big sinkhole in the middle in our underneath our property, that's going to be a problem. That's number one. Number two, number three was heater stopped working at work. And then I called the heater guy and got an emergency department, emergency visit. And then the heater started working. Then at home, my dishwasher of 8 years died, and it's a countertop dishwasher, so it doesn't surprise me. So in the process, so I had to order a new dishwasher. Actually, I think it died Sunday night after the show. So I got the new dishwasher delivered. It had a big dent in it, but I was so desperate I didn't care, and I put it in, installed it. At which point I whacked myself in the forehead and in the face putting it in. So now I've got like big D's in my face. Then I got a text from my tenant that her washing machine is dead. And my brother has disappeared. So he's normally the person that handles that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been a bit of a week. A bit of a week. But still better than I'm still glad I'm not working for Microsoft. Let's just say that. Um, how are you guys? How was your week? Anything interesting happening? Uh, I see one person, so it must be AC Wraith, but I'm not seeing the message that he always sends when he arrives. So we'll see. Nick is furiously reading.
Yeah. Well, my week was fine. My week was good.
There he is.
Usual things.
Thank you for
Uh
joining, everyone.
Last night I finished the comic Manifest Destiny. I think I talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Got to the end, finished it.
There. Thank you, AC Wraith.
Boy, that's a good story.
Really?
It's really worth it. I was reading it just like, how has no one made this into a TV show yet? Like it's the perfect format. Like you start traveling and it's people encountering monsters. You've got a nice episodic structure right there. And then season 2 is like, ooh, now we start digging into the lore, we start digging into the history, we start digging into the internal divisions
The
on the
Agents of
team.
Shield going from like the first season to being like meh, and then
Uh-huh.
second, like all of a sudden getting into the dirt.
Yeah, like the complicating issues, and then like maybe like season 3 or 4, you don't want to go too far much past that, I think. But like the arc is right there. It's like, and it works really well. Like the character developments, the whole moral conundrums that they face, and how it all ends out in the end is like it's a good horror adventure story, and you don't see many of those.
Mhm. So you see Wraith is finally on the mend.
I'm not coughing too bad, just congested a bit.
Yeah, his
Good.
fever's gone, thank God. Did you
Hmm.
ever find out if it was the COVID or if it was just the flu? Just take the expired test. Just take the expired
Hmm.
test. Um, yeah, I can't think of what else. And so many other things, so many other things going on. But this next week, I get to take my neighbors to the airport for their flight to Istanbul and then on to a 3-week cruise down the Nile. And I gave them one of the mysterious box company's murder mysteries, the portfolio, not the one that you gave me, but the one I bought new.
Okay.
So they took Lights, Camera, Murder. And so they're going to be doing that because it's a small cruise ship. It's only about 75 people on the whole ship.
Oh,
So
wow.
everybody's going to know everybody.
That actually sounds like a nice cruise. Where's
Yeah. 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 It's crazy, crazy expensive, but it's they're flying first class over, no, business class over to Istanbul. So this is they said that this trip is going to cost them upwards of $25,000.
what's the name of the
Cruise line?
cruise? Because
Name of the
me and Rachel had
cruise.
talked about like looking at a cruise, and we had last year we looked at like a cruise to Alaska that looked like it was really cool, a lot of cool things, but it's like no, if you go to Alaska, there's a lot of outdoors activity, and we're like that sounds fun, but we don't kind of want that at the moment. We want like a relaxing.
Yes, where it's small. This is like small bespoke experience. There's 75 people on the ship and there's 105 employees on the ship.
Hmm.
There's more employees than there are.
Is it an ocean cruise or like a river cruise? Because
River
I think
cruise.
her
River
parents.
river
Okay,
cruise down the Nile.
okay, because yeah, her parents went on a river cruise through the Seine, I
Mhm.
think,
Mhm.
someplace in Germany, um, and
That
really liked
sense that
that.
makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this is it's called AMA Waterways. Let me see, pull it up here. I need to
Oh
pull
wait,
up.
is this the that's right, they're on the Nile, they're gonna recreate Death on the Nile.
Mhm.
I mean, maybe not really, but yeah, they are. Someone's gonna die.
All right.
AMA
So,
Cruises?
amawaterways.com. And I am going to share my screen to here. All right. There it is right there. They just do river cruises.
Hmm.
Let's see. Do they have the one where Egypt, Dijon, Europe? I don't see the Egypt one. Let's see. All Egypt, the Nile. LM and Nile. There we go. There we go. So that's a 7-night cruise. Is $6,000. Where's the long one? This is all in 2025. So it looks like they only have 7-night cruise in 2025. So this is according to, let's see, what's the URL of this? The name of the ship is the Amadalia. Ships. The Amadolce Amadalia. There we go. There we go. So there's the ship. And it's 72 passenger ship, 36 staterooms, and 16 suites. That's it.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's very, very bespoke. So in that with
What is
those few people there, um, it's I said, just pull it out, work on it for an hour. People will come by and work on it because I mean, having more eyes on it is better. So it's going to keep people entertained for a little while because he says there are going to be lots of days where we're just, cruising down the river and looking for some kind of entertainment. So
And you
yeah,
gave them lights, camera, murder. That should at least provide about a day's entertainment.
that's what I told him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I told him that, work on it for an hour before dinner or something. And then, it's probably like 2 or 3 days. You'll probably be done. Thank you. Yes, I know. I want to be playing that in the car when I drop him off at the airport.
You know what? I
Yeah.
know that song, but do you know how I know that song? The only time I have ever heard that song played is in the Tiny Toons music video. Tiny Toons, way back in the day, did an
Mhm.
episode that was just like 3 music videos, and that was one of them. And for the longest time, I thought it was a parody.
Mm-mm.
I thought it was a parody song, a fake song. And when I found out it was real, it blew my mind.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. It's a 1953 novelty song. It is a novelty song.
Oh, okay, okay, so it is kind of a jokey song. I mean, they might be
Yes.
giants, that makes sense.
Yeah. So here's the story of it. 1953 novelty song with lyrics by Jimmy Kennedy and music by Nat Simon, written on the 500th anniversary of the fall of Constantinople to the Ottomans. The lyrics humorously refer to the official renaming of the city of Constantinople to Istanbul. And it was performed by the Four Lads and was certified a gold record. So, yeah, 1953 is when it first came out. And then, of course, They Might Be Giants. The first time I ever heard They Might Be Giants doing it, I was at a They Might Be Giants concert. And it was played on the accordion and a railroad tie being pounded against an orange cafeteria tray. He was doing the beat
Interesting.
like that. It was awesome. It was awesome.
That sounds fun. That sounds cool.
um yeah, they've had a lot of people that have done it. The originals, and then the original The Four Lads, then Frankie Vaughan, Cole Joy's Joy Boys, the Big Muffin Serious Band, They Might Be Giants, the Cicados, Bart and Baker, Bette Midler, and then of course there's a ton of live performances and cover versions.
Hmm.
So how do we get on that? Yes. So if you are thinking, if you want, this goes for anybody listening. If you're thinking of wanting to go on a very luxury cruise and want some advice, my dear friend who I'm taking to the airport used to work on the highest of high-end luxury cruise lines you don't even know the names of. And so he knows all the cruise lines.
I mean, what's interesting is looking at some of these prices, it's like the lowest one is like 2,300, which is not a lot for a 7-night cruise.
No, it's not. But those are in Europe, right?
Yeah, so you do have to pay
Yeah.
to get to Europe.
Yeah, but paying to get to Europe is nowhere more as expensive as paying to get to Egypt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you would like to do that, I will have you talk to my dear friend Philip, but not the next 3 weeks because he's busy.
No, that's fine. If we do this, it would be like next year.
Yeah.
We were actually looking at like what we should do a vacation this year, like just the two of us. Like we should go somewhere. And Vince, my brother, had gone to Spain years ago and had good things to say about it. So we were looking at tickets to Barcelona.
Oh, really? I'm thinking of actually going to Spain with my best
Oh,
friend.
hmm.
You want to go as a foursome?
I don't know, because then it wouldn't be just us.
I mean, we just meet up and then we go our own way. And then we meet up
True,
later
we
somewhere
could.
else in Madrid or something.
But you know what's funny
Mhm.
is we were looking at the tickets, and they're pretty expensive. But you know what? They're cheaper than. They're cheaper Then when we bought tickets to visit her family over Thanksgiving in Florida,
Yeah.
and we realized like a month beforehand, shit, we didn't buy tickets yet.
I remember you told me about that, and you did it over Christmas, so of course everything was gone.
The tickets the tickets were ungodly expensive.
Hmm. So
But now that's my baseline for everything.
no, it should be your baseline for everything. Um, there's, I mean, I'll get with you about like if you want to find interesting cruises to do this year. I have ways of finding interesting cruises, and then also interesting ways to get to Spain.
Okay, well maybe we'll do that instead.
Yeah.
Also, AC Wraith just with the musical links linking to Freddie Mercury's Barcelona.
All right. So can we move on from this like
Okay.
rich people talk taking cruises bullshit? Let's actually talk about what we really care about, and that's games.
No, I think that we should talk about the caviar that I had last night on my toast. It was
I
awful.
I had
It was
Chinese
the
food.
worst I've ever
I
had.
had Chinese.
I could practically see the tadpoles
I could
birthing on
I
my
could
toast.
I could see the grease coming off of the chow mein. All right. So,
That's good. Oh man, I'll just say real quick,
yeah.
I found a place the other day, um, and I just like ordered. I was like, I just need something. Give me some cheap Chinese food, and I'm like, okay, I'll go to this place. I haven't been there before, and boy, it's one of those magical places that
Really?
that it's cheap Chinese food. Like there's nothing special about it, but you know those packets that they give you, the leather, not leather,
Paper?
plastic
Plastic?
containers.
Mhm.
That thing was filled to bursting.
Oh, really?
Like
So
you know,
they offset the quality with the condiments.
you know how you take it and you open it,
Uh-huh.
and uh there's like food on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
It was stacked so high that
Yeah.
like when you closed it, it's like, oh, they took up all the room.
Yeah, that's how my local Chinese place is like. When you order chow mein from them, you get all the chow mein.
Uh-huh. It's like, holy. I ordered it and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's enough food to feed an army.
It lasted me 2 meals. I was like,
Yeah.
ate half and I was like, you know what? I'm saving this. So yeah,
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. All right,
the
so,
the
let's
magic
do
the magic
games.
of Chinese food
Yeah,
packaging.
nothing wrong with that. Uh, games. Do you wanna go first or shall I?
Games. I'll go first. I have an announcement. I'm gonna stop playing Baldur's Gate for a while.
No,
Because you know why?
because you found some other game, and that sucks because
No,
now you're not
no,
gonna come back to Baldur's Gate.
no, I will. I'll come back for season 2 because I got to the point. I beat Ketherick Thorn.
Mhm.
Um, and what I didn't realize is at that point in the story, that's when like you kind of get the story.
Yes, that's
That
what I'm saying, is that act 3 is when shit gets cool.
Yes, and so it's like we spent this whole time going up here being like, we've got yeah, like back up. What's the story of Baldur's Gate 3? You get kidnapped by these tentacle monsters and they put a tadpole in your head that will turn you into a tentacled monster. Except you're not changing. Why are you not changing? And as you go through trying to figure that out, you kind of get caught up in the machinations of this cult that's amassing an army. And you're like, what's going on with this cult? With the tadpoles that aren't tadpoles? What's going
And
on?
the Githyanki, who are this like otherworldly civilization who all kind of hate you, but
Mhm.
you've got something they want, and you're not really quite sure. Like it's not yours, it's somebody else's on your team, and you're trying to figure out what the hell is that thing.
Yeah. And so once you get to like the end of Act 2, once you defeat Ketherick Thorn, who's kind of like the big boss of Act 2, that's when you get answers to a lot of those questions. You find,
Mhm.
and basically that's when the game introduces its villains. Hey, this
Mhm.
game actually has villains. Like this is when the
Mhm.
larger plot comes into focus. And it comes the
Isn't it
story.
crazy that the true villains of this story don't become apparent until the last few moments of Act 2?
Yeah,
Like, you don't even know their names.
yeah. Um, and part of me is like, well, that seems kind of bad, but also I kind of like the slow ramp up. Like, because I'll tell you, end of Act 2, like shit gets cosmic. It's like, oh
Mm,
shit, we just stumbled into a cosmic horror story. Like, I just
yeah.
wanted to find out what was going on with this tadpole. Now you tell me I have to kill Cthulhu,
Yes.
and it's like, what the fuck did I get into? Uh,
Yes.
but what's what I felt after like watching that cutscene is that was the season finale,
No.
right? Like, no, it's the perfect like building up to that, the reveal, the cliffhanger, all of that is like the sudden scope, the sudden change of scope of the story. It was like that was the perfect season cliffhanger, and it's like if there was a time to stop for a bit, it's like this is it, and then I can come back for season two.
I don't disagree with you on that. I really kind of don't disagree that if you're
Mhm,
going to walk away, this is the time. The problem is that a lot of the stuff that goes on in Act 3 is very hyper dependent upon what happened in Act 2, and you've got to remember what happened in Act 2. And if you don't remember because you're playing it as television, like television seasons, when they have a cliffhanger at the end of the season and they go to the next season, they have a little window dressing at the beginning to kind of
yeah, they've got
catch
a
you up.
recap.
They
They've
got
got
a
a
recap.
And you know what? I have recaps too. It's called the internet.
Yeah, but
I've also got my journal that I can look at to see what
yeah, but
information is
even
there.
so, the journal that journal does not do a very good job of remembering little fucking details that very much come into play. So, and the fights from here on out start to get very serious. The game essentially goes from being this Dungeons Dragons game that that you had said that this is like playing a D&D game with a really 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 good GM.
Mhm.
Now it kind of gets into that as well as elements of like the best parts of Assassin's Creed and other stuff of trying to get past places and get into places that you're not supposed to get into, that you haven't had to experience quite yet. Because you, as a character with the tadpole, you're being mistaken as one of the, what do they call them? The chosen ones, not the
The True Souls.
true souls. You're being mistaken as a true soul. So even places that you should have had to sneak into, like for example, the goblin camp, you can kind of just walk your way in
Mhm.
without a fight. Um, now as that doesn't happen, and now things get really big from here on out. So, I mean, I can see, yes, I agree with you. If you were going to take a break, now is the time to take a break. I would recommend not making that break very long though. Come back.
Well,
Don't put
yeah,
it on
I
your shelf.
no. I mean, I'm not gonna uninstall it, and
Just because
I
you don't uninstall doesn't mean you're not going to come back to it. I mean,
oh,
when
I've
was
had
the last time you played Chivalry?
not for a while, but you know
Yeah,
what? It's still on
it's
there.
still on there.
Um, but
Yeah,
uh, I've bought a bunch of games since I bought Baldur's Gate. I
right.
would like to play some of those other
I don't
things
blame
that I
you.
bought.
I don't blame you.
One of which is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown,
Hmm.
which I've started playing. I'm several hours into it now, and it's a really, really good Metroidvania.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm starting to think that maybe I don't like Metroidvanias.
Hmm.
The game is fun, and I like the exploration. I like finding new locations, and the last time I stopped playing, I was kind of getting into the groove of it. But there's something about this genre that I find very, very hard to get into to start. Um, so much of it is about encountering things you can't do, right? I encounter a door that I can't break. I encounter a ledge that I can't jump to yet because I'm missing the proper ability. And I just keep stumbling across things that's like, oh, this is for later. Oh, this is for later. Oh, this is for later. And I just find that so frustrating and so
Yeah.
annoying. Um, and so now, after about like 4 hours or so, I've gotten three abilities. And so now things are starting to open up.
Mhm.
And that's making it a lot more fun. I'm enjoying myself a lot more with it, because I can just explore. I can be, hey, I want to go see what's over there, knowing that I can actually get to the end. Uh, and that's really good. That's really fun. Um, what I like most about it is the combat. It's got a shockingly in-depth combat system. Then it really just feels like a solid 2D action game more than it is a Metroidvania. And part of me kind of wishes that there was just more fighting going on. As I'm running around this world, exploring and fighting little guys, I'm like, man, I kind of want to fight a boss. I kind of want to fight a boss. I kind of wish it was more blasphemous, less Prince of Persia, if
Mhm.
that's anything. But the like, I'm enjoying my time with it, and especially now that I feel like I've kinda gotten over that hump. uh, w AC Race says, "It's a Metrovania, Nick, what did you expect?" And, yes, I know that that's the point of the genre, but what's surprising to me is how irritated I got at that tenet of the genre. I knew what to expect going in, but that didn't change the fact that, like, as I'm running in hour 1 and I encounter something that I can't do, I'm like, "No, fuck you, game. Fuck this. I don't wanna come back here." And then I go on and I encounter something else, or I take a wrong turn and end up in a location that I shouldn't go to yet. It's like, "Oh, fuck you. Fuck you, game." Um, but like I said, now that I have the ability to actually explore the world, I'm enjoying exploring the world because there's a lot of interesting things in the world. Um, a lot of the platforming challenges are really interested, are really cool.
Mhm.
A lot of the fights are really cool, but I find that I kind of wish I just had those. I kind of wish they were like separate levels. The platforming all takes place in an open world, but what that means is if I'm exploring the world and I go through a tough platforming challenge and I get to a location, I'm like, "Oh, wow, that was a really fun challenge. Like, that was fun to do." If I wanna go back there, I have to go back through that platforming challenge. And it's like, "Well, oh, I have to do that every single time?" And that's where it gets a little annoying. I kinda
Right.
wish that platforming challenge was like a level that I could complete, solve, get the satisfaction of solving it, and then move on to something else, instead of kind of always having to navigate through it or navigate around it.
Mhm.
Um, and again, like, that's kind of part of the genre is just navigating the world, and when you have a Metroidvania platformer, like, the platforming is kind of part of that. And that's why I said maybe I don't like Metroidvanias, but I've liked a lot of them in the past, and I've heard this one has gotten stellar reviews, and I've enjoyed a lot of it so far. So I wanna keep with it to kind of see if I turn a corner on it, because there have been several other games where I kinda started very lukewarm and then turned a corner and adore it. The Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, like the old, racing game, like the first game that the Burnout crew made under EA. I remember when I tried it initially, I was like, "This isn't Burnout. I don't like this."
Yeah. That's
But
how I felt about it.
the more I played it, the
The more
more
you yeah.
I
Yeah,
loved
you
it
had to
for what it
allow
was.
it to stand on its own and not in the shadow of its previous,
Yeah,
iteration.
and now it's like the only good Need for Speed game that team has made in the past 12 years.
True.
Like, it's still the best thing that they've done. So, I wanna keep with this to kind of see if my feelings change about it. I'm not hating my time with it, right? If I was really hating it and frustrated with it, I would stop. but I want to see where it's going. I do think the story is also interesting. Uplay has not a prince, but more of a general. You are one of the immortals, which is like this group of 7 or so highly skilled warriors of Persia. Uh, one of your members, or maybe not a member, but like another general in the army, kidnaps the prince of Persia and takes them to this mountain, this ancient mountain called like Mount Kaf. Uh, and you and your other immortals follow them. But this mountain and the ancient civilization around it are like stuck in this weird time loop. And so you go there, and after like 30 minutes, you encounter one of your teammates who's like, "It's been 30 years. Where have you been?" You're like, "What do you mean 30 years? We just got here." And then you encounter someone else who's like, "It's been 2 days since I've seen anyone. What happened to you?" Like, "What? It's been an hour. What is going on?" At a certain other point, uh, one of the gear upgrades is you find a bow and arrow. You find that bow and arrow on your body.
Oh,
You find another version of yourself with a bow, and you're like, what the fuck? But I'm gonna take this bow."
right. So there you're dealing with cross timelines.
Yeah. And so that's a cool idea, right? Of just in this place where time and space kind of don't mean anything. And I want to see what it goes. I like that concept. It's a good trippy concept. I'm
Good
enjoying,
mind fuckery.
yeah, and I'm enjoying the action. I'm enjoying the platforming. I'm enjoying the story, and I'm enjoying all of these elements separately. But I feel like they kind of lose a little bit of something when they come together. I feel like bringing all those good elements together, each of them don't really, they don't make each other better. They're good individually, but together they kind of lose a little something. They kind of hurt each other.
Hmm.
And so I'm hoping maybe after a couple more hours, I find a better synergy between them. I will say though, one of the good things that it does that other Metroidvanias don't do is it takes advantage of the screenshot functionality that consoles have had for like the past 20 years. So, in any Metroidvania, when you come to a wide gap and you're like, "I'm going to get a double jump, or I'm going to get a dash. I'm going to get something that will let me cross this gap," right? I don't know
Hmm.
when, but I know I will get it. The problem is that how do you remember where that is?
Right.
And some usually you have to rely on the game to like mark it with something, or a lot of games now will have give you the ability to put a marker on your map, but like you have to do all this stuff and you have to remember what those markers mean. In this game, you can just take a screenshot
Hmm.
and it puts that screenshot on the map itself, so that when I'm looking at my map, I can see a little eye symbol next to a path. And I'm like, what is that eye symbol? And it highlights, it sort of pulls up a mini version of that screenshot. And I can see, oh, there's a chest that's up really high. So I need to get the jump to get there. And so I don't have to travel around just to figure out where these things are. If I see a blocked location on a map, I don't have to go there to figure out what is that blocked location. I just look at the screenshot and I know exactly what it is. And it's just very user friendly. And what's especially cool is it kind of, like I said, consoles have had the screenshot functionality for decades, and there hasn't really been a game that makes that part of the mechanics.
Hmm.
And it's kind of weird that there hasn't been a game like
Yeah,
that.
it makes absolute sense why wouldn't you do that? It's because it's just all it is essentially a game version of geolocating your photos.
Yeah. And I think it's cool that we see a game that's kind of finally taking advantage of this old technology of consoles.
Yeah. Um so
Well, yeah, AC Wraith had asked if I've tried Blasphemous 2 yet. It's gotten
yeah.
really good reviews. I have not. That is one of my uh mid-season Baldur's Gate games. is Blasphemous 2. Because I loved that first one. That first one was so good. And it was in a lot of ways a Metroidvania game. He also says, I had that problem in the Messenger, too much platforming for too long. Yeah, I tried a little bit of Messenger and kind of fell off it for that. That's also kind of why I fell off Hollow Knight, even though people love that game. And he says, I like the more combat focused stuff instead of the platforming. That makes sense. I'm in my 1437th hour of a robot named Fight. That blows my mind, dude. I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever played
1,400 hours.
I have not played a single game.
Oh, man. How many
I think the longest
let's do the math on that. Where is the math on that? 1,437 divided by 24. You have played for 59 days straight.
wow.
2 months straight. That's crazy.
I think the most I ever put into a game was like around 150 hours or something. And it was a Battlefield game. I think it was like Battlefield 5. And then Elden Ring was like 3 hours less than that.
Yeah. I put a lot of hours into fuck, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. Skyrim.
Oh yeah,
I
of
put a
course.
lot of hours into Mass Effect and into Dragon Age
Yeah.
Origins. Oh god, I put so
Yeah,
many
you
hours into it.
you
I played that
played
4 times, one after another.
what about 2? I know you played 2 a whole bunch of
I
times.
played 2 a whole bunch of times as well. What, 2, well, Dragon Age 2 or Mass Effect 2?
Dragon Age 2.
I did match Dragon Age 2 for a while, but Dragon Age Origins I did 4 times in a row. I just did it over and over and over again with different origin stories to get different endings.
Yeah, I know I can track my time because the PlayStation, like, tracks the time you put into all your games now, and
Mhm.
it does it retroactively. So I can see going back
Oh,
to the
really?
PS4, like, how many hours did I put into fuck, what was the first PS4 game I got? Like, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I could see that, but I can't do that for the 360 games.
Oh,
So that
I wish
whole
you could. Yeah,
whole generation is like
gone.
I know I played a lot of Skyrim. I know I played a lot of Mass Effect. I know I played a shit ton of Bad Company too,
Mhm.
but I don't have the exact number in front of me.
Yeah. Um, so how long do you think you're gonna be playing that before you go back to Baldur's Gate?
I mean, I want to play. I will definitely put more time into the Lost Crown.
Mhm.
Once I'm done with that, I want to move on to Blasphemous or Lords of the Fallen.
Mhm.
That's a Souls-like game that came out in like October or November,
'Kay.
and I got it on a Christmas sale, and so that's next on my list. And
Alright.
then what else did I get? Oh, I picked up Cult of the Lamb just
Oh, yeah,
recently.
I've heard a lot of well, obviously a lot about that. It was
Yeah,
huge, like, a few months ago, it's like 6 months ago. Everybody's talking about it.
yeah, and so I wanna get into that. It looks cute and dark at the same time.
So I'm now I have defeated the second boss of Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
I have defeated Orin, the chosen of the god of murder. Um, that was a very challenging fight, and I did read not a spoiler, but like a tip sheet of how to deal with that, and you
Mm,
have to deal with that fight very specifically or you're done for. If you don't handle the stuff that you need to handle in the first turn or turn and a half,
oh,
it's over. You can't win. You cannot win. Not possible. So, I had to and if I'd have thought about it, I probably could have figured it out on my own, but once I read the strategy for it, it's like, "Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, that makes sense." But yeah, once I knew how to do it, it actually was not easy, but it was pretty straightforward after that. Um, I'm past Orin and just got her down. Now I am just getting into the vampire czar,
Oh, Cazador?
not Cazador.
Okay.
Who's the
That's the only
vampire? The one who the vampire that is that made Asterion.
Yeah, that's Cazador.
Cazador Czar, I think it is.
Okay.
So I'm now in Czar's stronghold, and I'm kind of not clearing out, but like snooping around and discovering stuff all around before I go through the door. So I'm very much slow playing at this point. Um, I I can't. I'm not going to say what else has happened because that will ruin stuff. But I made some decisions for myself and for one of my teammates
Okay.
that I'm curious to know how that's going to change the story.
I will
Um,
say, in the part that I got to, Shadowheart made a radical life decision that has completely changed the
I
path
haven't
she
st
goes
right, that's
down.
the next thing. As soon as I take care of Asterion story, then I'm gonna go into Shadowheart stories. Yeah.
Yeah, she's gone down a completely different path, and it's like, "Oh, there's goodness in you. I can save you."
Let's just say, there were some cosmetic choices that were made. Not say cosmetic, no, they weren't entirely cosmetic, but choices made that affected the cosmetics of Shadowheart.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, so, yeah, I made that same thing happen to me, so that's gonna be the next big story plot that I'm going to do, and then I'm gonna go after third the third boss. And that's when things are gonna get amplified and ramped up very quickly. So I'm kind of slow playing at this point.
okay.
I also, as promised last week, although I did not stream it, I did load up Pal World.
I wanna hear about this.
So, on the Xbox, it is considered a trial. It's not the full game, so I can't play multiplayer.
Okay.
And it kind of warns you like, oh, it's just a trial, so there's gonna be bugs. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Um, it looks, I mean, it's a Pokemon game. It's fully a Pokemon game. But, it's also very, very deep and rich. It is a massive, massive map. Um, there's the element of survival. I'm actually diving deeper into the survival element at this point.
Hmm,
Um, uh, the you start off essentially coming into this world where they're saying it's essentially, I get the sense that you've been kind of hijacked into this world where other people have been hijacked and everybody else has died. So they're like, oh, you're the latest. Yeah, hope you survive. The key is to kind of like, tame some pals to help you along, but nobody's been able to do that really very well. And you come across
okay.
a lot of dead bodies. You set up a camp, you capture some pals, then you have to look at the qualities that the pals have to determine what work that they can do. So then they do work within your camp essentially. And so they can actually continue making stuff in your camp. Uh like all of the equipment you might need, including like the pal balls to actually Pokeballs to actually capture the pals.
Okay,
Um,
you you put the pals to work making the tools that will imprison other
Other
pals?
pals, yes, absolutely. And they collect wood, you set up things, and the whole point is to level up your base, which allows you more abilities to go farther and do more things. Um, and the capturing, I wasn't really quite sure, like, okay, what's the point of capturing them other than gotta catch them all? And as you get farther in, you begin to realize what the gotta catch them all is kind of, it's like you do encounter other humans, Some of them are bad guys that are trying to kill you and do occasional raids on your camp.
Hmm.
Also, they will have wild pals that will come and do raids on your camp. So you've got to be ready. There's an element of defense as well. It definitely does that very slowly. So it lets you get up and running very quickly.
Okay.
I should say it lets you get up and running without having to worry about being hammered too soon or too quickly. There's different biomes that are very rich and diverse. There's tons of pals everywhere, and they're all various different kinds. And sometimes we will see a pal that it's like, oh wow, I can't get that now, but one of these days I'm going to be able to get that thing. Um, it's definitely a game that sucks you into, like, you look down and you've been playing 7 hours.
That's what it looks like. I've heard that it has it's really good at the loop of, oh, I'm gonna work on this one thing. Now I can do this. Now that I've done that, I can do this. Now that I've done that, I can do
And you can do
this.
that.
Now that
Yep.
I do that, I can, and it's just like one more thing, one more thing, one more
Right.
thing.
I just want to do this one more thing before I go to bed. And then
Mhm.
2 hours later, you're like, fuck, I needed to go to bed an hour ago. Um, the the thing that I was kind of surprised and delighted is first off, you can go anywhere. All of these cliffs like you see in on the screen right now, you can climb up those. You can climb up over on top of absolutely everything. It is as open a world as you possibly could imagine.
Hmm.
Um, that being said, you might not have the stamina to be able to go all the way up the cliff if it's a real tall cliff. So then you'll get a halfway up and then you'll fall.
Okay.
But eventually you can level up your stamina. But it's not just pals that you can capture. You do encounter other humans, merchants, traders, people sitting there on the side of the road, the bad guy, the raiders. You can pokeball those guys too and make them slaves. And it tells you this is
Really?
considered unethical. And there's places in the world that, you could come across a black market pal trader and they're like, yeah, we dabble in, the legal and
People.
sometimes not legal. And so then you can capture a bunch of raiders and then sell them off at the market.
Jesus.
You can essentially go into the slave trade.
You know what? I appreciate that. That is a game that sort of understands its premise
Yes, yes. It's
and leans into it.
There's so many things in this game that you see the way it works or you figure out the way it works and you're like, somebody said, what if we can do this? What about if we do this? And they're like, yeah, sure, let's go with it. Like, what if you just jump in that river and just ride the river down to the ocean? Sure, you could do that. Um, your pals are become as you I'm up I think I'm up to like 11 level 12 now. Um, and I did that in one day. Uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, the levels come very rapidly up to about level, I'd say 10, 9 or 10, and then they start to slow down a little bit.
Hmm.
But the leveling is good, the gameplay is interesting, and the more you do, the more you discover, like, oh wow, look at this. Who knew? You're constantly looking off into the distance to see things that might be something that you might want to go look at, like, oh, what's that over there? That kind of stuff. Um, the pals are very, very, very helpful as you get to a higher level. Some of them are better fighters than others. Each pal has its own personality. So some of them are brittle or cowardly or aggressive or don't require as much food or are
Hmm.
runners or each every and this is unique to that particular pal, so it's not just that type of pal, but that individual pal. Sometimes you pick up pals that are slackers. You really don't want those as the pals that work in your camp because they'll slack off and it lets you
Mhm.
know they're slacking off. And they also do work way, way, way slower. There's some pals that are work slaves who do work way faster. So you kind of have to look at what you've got. And if there's a pal you don't particularly can't use, you can either sell it or as you get higher up, one of the things that you can make is a cleaver and you can harvest your pals because when you kill a pal, you can kill a pal or you just can weaken it and then capture it. But if you kill a pal, like these little like lambs that you see, these lamb balls, they give mutton and you can use that for food to survive on because you do get hungry, your pals get hungry. So you can actually feed mutton to your lambs, which I was
They
thinking
don't
that
know. They don't
yeah,
understand it.
there's that was something that the earliest mistake that I made is that I was trying to put like feed them like obviously the chickens are herbivores and the lambs are herbivores and then the penguins probably want fish but I couldn't fight fish so I was like
Mm.
well the penguin is starving let's just feed it a berry. Oh, it'll eat a berry. Oh, well, and then I happened to notice off in the corner that Lamball ate a lamb kebab. I'm like, really? Well, okay then. So you can make, they'll eat anything. They'll eat and they'll cannibalize themselves. I also notice that each of the, when you see them, the pals, it actually will indicate of whether they're male, female, or neutral gender, both gender. I guess that would be hermaphroditic. Um, So I'm assuming that at some point there's a breeding program that will happen.
Yeah, I imagine there has to be something like that in
Yeah,
this
so it
game.
becomes more like Animal Crossing. I wonder if you can cross your animals.
Ooh, that'll be interesting.
That would be very interesting. But knowing after having played this game, um, knowing that, I could absolutely see them doing something like that.
This is all this looks like a survival game with the base construction of Viva Pinata, but
Mhm.
with the aesthetics of Pokemon.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yep. AC Wraith put a link in the chat for PAL breeding combinations.
Oh, oh, see, you can do that. Oh, interesting.
And I assume by breeding combinations, that means you can mix.
Species, I would imagine, because
Uh-huh.
there are some that are like all different fox based with different skills and abilities. And then there's some that are like different bird based. One of the earliest ones you encounter, and one of the more helpful ones that you encounter, are the cats. As you get pals together, like say that you want to build something, you can just say, I want to build a corral over there. And you just put down the plan, and then all your pals just run over and they all work on it. So you don't even have to do the building. It's a slave trade, full slave trade.
Okay. I might have to check out some of this.
It's definitely pretty fun, but it's also something that I see being a very long term play.
Yeah, I've heard people have like already put 100 hours into it.
Yeah, this isn't. It's not like it's coming out with from what I could tell, like a big, massive, overarching story. Maybe there is, and I haven't discovered it yet. But I know I did a lot of just dinking around and slow playing as I tend to do these things, where I
Mm.
get completely overpowered so that I can wipe out whatever like the next mission is.
Oh yeah.
I like to be overpowered rather than super underpowered. Um, yeah, there are huge pals. There are massive pals. There are flying pals. And I'm seeing like harnesses available for some of the flying ones, which makes me
Mm.
wonder if that means that they could be used for travel, which would be amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see if I can move along to some a little farther along when they've actually got a pal. Um, yeah, early on, you're just having to work up with the elements. Um, the most important thing to remember is that you don't kill the pal before you capture the pal. That's the mistake I was making is I was murdering them and then try to capture them.
Oh,
Another really annoying thing is if you throw a pal ball, you've lost the pal ball. If you miss, or even if you throw it by mistake, which happens, a misclick, you lose a ton of pal balls because you misclick.
ooh.
So at least I did. So so yeah, that's very much a thing. And you lose those pal balls. But that being said, I noticed that the game kind of it doesn't let you pick up a pal ball that you've dropped. But I will notice if I drop some, if I just keep walking around, eventually there's just a pal ball just lying in the dirt somewhere. So it kind of pays it back to you later.
Hmm. Okay. What are the resources to build one? Like, are they costly to build?
No, they take stone and wood and palladium, which if you see the little blue blocks, little blue nodes around, that's palladium.
Okay,
S- and, and you can also find just like little pieces of them all over the place.
they want you to always be able
Yeah, it's
to do
yeah,
that.
pal balls are not hard. Early on, yes, but later on becomes not a thing.
Okay.
You do have to worry about keeping your pals happy. You can't let them go without a bed because it stresses them out. Sometimes they get
Mm,
hurt, and then you have to put them away and replace them with somebody else so that they can go in their little pal, you know,
they got to go to the nurse's office.
sort of. Yeah, I guess they just kind of have to be taken back into your pal library so that they can heal up.
They go to the nurse's office, where you'll never be seen again.
No, you'll be seen. Yeah, if your pal dies in combat or anything like that, then they're usually on a timeout for in your library for 10 minutes, so they can come back.
Okay.
You can't kill a pal unless you slaughter, harvest your pal.
Hmm.
Then they don't come back. So you can see, like, she's building a bed, and like all the other pals, once you start building, all the other pals come and help along, so it goes way faster
Okay.
instead of it
Th-
being
This
super
this
slow.
sounds like really cool and well thought out.
It is very cool. It is very well thought out. I was streaming it, uh, and so that's a good sign. Um, and I'm curious to know if there is a bigger story to it than just this. Now, even if I get past this initial stuff, like the initial challenges, and it's because I'm now to the point of where it's like, go fight a boss. I'm like, do I really want to fight a boss? I
Hmm.
don't know where the test will end because remember, this is not the full game. This is the beta.
True. It's like the game isn't early access, but I
Right.
imagine if people have put 100 hours into it, like I
But probably
imagine,
on PC, not on.
yeah.
Oh, that's the other great thing. Like you're seeing here, she just built a berry farm. You have
Hmm.
to seed the farm and then you have to water the farm, and both of them take a really long time. But if you get a pal that has the ability to plant and get another pal that has the ability to water, and then you get a food bin, a feed trough, you just plant that feed trough and then you set those two pals into be workers, and they will plant the food, they will water the food, they will harvest the food, and they will transport the food into their own feed bin so you never even have to worry about feeding them.
They take care of themselves.
They take care of themselves. Right. At a certain point, they take care of themselves. And then it's just you building and upgrading and buying stuff and making things and going farther out and discovering things. Yeah, it's pretty damn good.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, can't complain. I'm looking forward to doing more of it.
Yeah,
As
how are you gonna stick with it?
I'm gonna play it tonight. I mean, if you don't want to play Baldur's Gate multiplayer, I am gonna play Power World. I really do wish it was multiplayer.
I thought you could play multiplayer on Xbox. I remember
It was
hearing that,
saying
like, the servers were limited, but I
maybe
didn't know that you couldn't do it at all.
I got the feeling that it's like I'll have to go look, but it said something along the lines of, "Yeah, no." I will look again because I was like, I just want to start it. I don't really care if it's multiplayer or not.
Mhm.
But if I could turn my world into multiplayer, absolutely, I would invite everybody into GameHoundia, my world. I always name all of my worlds, my multiplayer worlds, GameHoundia.
Really? Every single one?
Every single one of them's been named.
Huh.
If it's multiplayer, I name it GameHoundia.
Okay, you do need a Game Pass Ultimate membership.
I don't have Game Pass. Really?
You don't have Game Pass Ultimate?
I don't know.
That's that's the one that gives you access to Game Pass on PC.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, that could be
Maybe
it.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
Which is it's kind of stupid that you can't do it on console, but you have to have the Game Pass Ultimate that allows it on PC, even though you never use PC. It seems kind of weird.
Yeah, that Microsoft has locked console multiplayer behind buying a PC Game Pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a Mac user.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Pal World. I would definitely check it out. Definitely worthwhile. Do you have any other questions about it?
No, sorry. It looks like it should be available. But yeah, you definitely need Ultimate.
Okay.
Anyways, uh like how I know that you could use the pals in battle. You can use them in battle and you can use them for your like base. Are you finding there's like a good split between that, or is it mainly like, hey, I'm using them for my base, and every now and then I get a guy I can use in battle?
I would say there's a good mix. So the ones that you use in your base, you go to your PAL management console and then you pick it depending on the level of your base, how many PALs you can actually have working in your base. So you at
Mhm.
level 2 at level 1 you can have 1 PAL, level 2 you can have 2 PALs working, at level 3 you can have 3 and you actually
Okay.
assign those. So you've got this library of just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of PALs. And then you
Okay.
can pick ones that you actually want to work in your base. And then you can carry with you up to 4, I think it is, to actually be to take with you off the base to
And
go
do all
fight
of
with.
do all of them have some role in battle, like Pokemon? Where if I pick up that sheet ball, I can use the sheet ball in battle?
You can use the sheep ball in battle, absolutely. But chances, you know, and it says in their description what their fight skills are, what their attacks are, and they usually have 3 attacks. They have 1 attack that they originally come with no matter what level, and then as they level up, they open up the second attack, and then there's a third attack that I think that you only can get when you make them additional equipment, like the little monkey type creature that I have. He has a an assault rifle. But you have to make the assault rifle. You know, have to level up and then you have to learn the technology and then you have to build them the assault rifle in order for him to actually have access to that assault rifle attack,
Hmm.
which I just did last night before I went to bed. So I haven't taken him out. I don't know if I need to give it to him or how I need to do it. Some of them have harnesses. Like there is a fox. In fact, you're just seeing. Oh, actually, let me stop, 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 stop. All right, let me put this back up. Pull it back like a half a second here. Um, so I'm gonna get this back on the screen. So there is this one thing that you can see off in the corner, and that this person's gonna go attack. That little fire fox.
Mhm.
It has a obviously fire-based attack, but if you put a harness on them, that you can use them as you can use them as a flamethrower. You can hold them and use them as a flamethrower.
Like in the cartoon, you just hold the cat like a gun?
Yep, you hold the cat like a gun. Um, And like the penguin has a really cool attack in that it has a freezing, like this one that they're attacking now has a freeze attack. So no matter what size creature it is, it can usually freeze the creature.
Hmm,
And
that's useful.
which is really useful, especially for like high end stuff that you're attacking. Um, but man, I can't tell you how many times that I have run out of Pokeballs. Oh, sorry, Pal balls. And um I've been in the middle of a fight. It's like, oh, I finally got him down. And you throw put your arm back and there's no ball. It's like, God damn it. That didn't work. Gotta use another one.
Ooh.
Weaken him a little bit more. Don't kill it. And maybe get that one. Like those little rays right there will freeze you. Oh man.
Oh, he's a tough one.
Yep. When you're low level, it gets pretty tough. And you will like
Yeah,
case in
second one
point.
joined the fight too.
Yep, that's just a rant. I've actually used the one that you is the person. There you go. There's the freeze. But sometimes you will come
Got it.
across different like just random encounters between different pals that are fighting each other, and you can
Oh,
just sit
really?
there and wait until somebody gets weakened enough, and then throw a pal ball in there and get them. It
Oh,
doesn't happen a
that's
lot, but you come across Skyrim style of a roach fighting a giant.
that's cool. That they kind of act like animals in nature, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
they will
Oh, what is
fight
that?
each other.
Oh, that's, one of the alpacas.
Just through it with
No,
no.
no, no, he threw out the lamb,
Oh, okay.
and that gets their attention so that you can come in and kinda weaken them a little bit and then hopefully grab them. I don't think you're gonna be able to get them. I think you're too low a level. Um, yeah, and if you attack one alpaca and another one is near it, chances are that alpaca is also gonna attack you, so you're gonna be in a multi-stage fight, and you're just gonna hope
Hmm.
that you can get one. Oh, it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, and so he
And some of these things will fuck you up,
and so
like now.
that pow ball is used up, right?
Yes.
Through it, it didn't work.
Yes. Yep, now that person's down to 0 POW balls. So now it's just a fight for their life. Now you just have to kill it because there's nothing you can do. Even if you could get it
Mm.
down low enough, you have no POW ball.
Hey, you've always got meat to bring back to your
Right,
pals.
exactly. You can always just harvest them with the meat. See, reach and it's like, "Oh, damn it, out of
Mm.
POW balls." Fuck.
How many can you carry at a time?
Um, uh, you see 3 digits there.
Okay. Well,
They do have weight.
how many can you carry at this moment?
I've had as much as 40 of them on me.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I have the slaves making them back at the camp.
How do you how do you run out with 40?
Because you go on a really, really, really long trip, multi-night trip out into the middle of nowhere and fail a lot because you're dealing with different higher level places. Now I have seen an area where I walked into where I went from, level 3, 4, 5, 9, maybe 10. And then you walk through a gate and all of a sudden it's level 25 and it's like, whoops,
Mm,
okay, no, we're not going there. So it's definitely um, levels based on geography. So
okay.
this is the starting zone, and I'm still in the starting zone.
Yeah.
Alpaca. Exactly. Um, until news when we get into the character design controversy. Are you going to mention it? Because I didn't bring it up. I don't have notes on that.
Yeah, I have some
Okay,
notes.
good. All right. Well, speaking of which, any other questions before we hit the news about
No,
this?
that looks fun and I wanna play it.
All right.
That's all.
So, let's hit. I'm going to let you start the news. Then I'm going to go to the bathroom because I've been drinking a bunch of water. So I'll be right
Okay.
back. But in with the anticipation of that, oh, we forgot to run the intro. Oh well, let's hit the news. With Gamer Edie and Nick Nicola, and our first item is
You wanna get into Palworld or do you wanna wait and do you want me to
wait
wait
until I
you come
come back.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Then in the meantime, not in non-Palworld news, Xbox has put on a new page on their storefront called. Okay, there, music's on. Wait, it's gonna come back. No, okay. Oh Jesus. Where's the music? Stop the music. Pause. Xbox has added a new page to their storefront specifically for indie games. It's just an indie selects page, just like a curated collection of indie games from the ID at Xbox team. And it's there's not really much more to it other than that, but it's a cool addition, I think. Uh, outside, like let's just admit that in the next couple months or so, there's bound to be some sort of controversy about, oh, they put Dave the Diver on the Indies selects page, and it's not an indie game, or they put Baldur's Gate 3 on the Indies page. What is this? Like something like that is going to happen in the future. But those kind of petty controversies aside, I think this is cool. It's a chance to highlight smaller games that might not otherwise be highlighted on the store page. Um, I know even like navigating through the PlayStation Store, like just trying to find a new game. I think when I was buying Prince of Persia, I went into new releases thinking, oh yeah, I'll just find it there, or just like on the featured list, I'll find it there. But because it had been like a week since the game came out, it was no longer featured. And so I had to go to the search to find this, maybe not AAA, a big AAA game from Ubisoft that had come out a week. So anything that makes discoverability easier, I think, is just great. Uh, and yeah, to have kind of a dedicated page for smaller games, it might help keeping some of those bigger games on the featured page for longer. So works out for everybody. Um, what else happened? The I don't have a news item for this, but oh, Halo Infinite is gonna change, but not change. I stopped playing Halo Infinite a long time ago, and they're making a change to how they do their live service. Previously, they used to, and kind of currently, they go by seasons, which a lot of live service games do. There's a new season comes out, and it's got like 100 levels for the season pass that you have to work to build. Halo's big thing was that the season passes never expire. So once a season ends, you can still make progress on it and get the rewards for it after the fact. Hey, it's cool, but there's still seasons. Well, now they're changing to operations, which when it sounds like it's really just smaller seasons. Let's see. This is coming from an article on Kotaku. Seasons would arrive every few months with a theme and 100 tiers of unlockables through the Battle Pass. With operations, starting on January 30th, each operation will have 20 levels of rewards. And that's kind of it. So, really, a season, an operation sounds like it's not themed. It's a much smaller Battle Pass, and maybe it will come out with levels. This one specifically, Spirit of Fire, it's called, is coming out with a new armor that's free for everybody, a new map, and like an update to the game that will allow you to swap shoulder pads across different armor cores. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this plays out and what the larger community reaction is to it
What game is it?
over the next month. Halo Infinite.
Oh, you didn't have a thing for it?
No, I didn't have it. But like they're switching the live service model from seasons to smaller seasons, and I don't know if people will appreciate that or if they'll like it. If like issues that have plagued the battle pass in the past, this somehow resolves. I don't know. When I first saw the headline for this, that was like Halo stops seasons. I thought they were just like cutting the cord on this live service game.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're just kind of changing how they release stuff. And again, like I said,
Yeah,
I'm
they
curious to see
really,
how this
really
plays
don't
out
want
in the
they
next week or
none of
so.
them wanna get rid of seasons. They don't want they just are gonna keep holding on to it until the very last minute. They're gonna be fine like, "Well, what about this kind of live service model? Well, what about this kind of live service model? What about this kind of live service model?"
They want to find a live service model, but as we're learning, live service models are really hard.
Yeah.
Look, it takes a while to make a game, and to make monthly content for a game, you gotta you gotta crunch your team.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
a lot you have to hire a lot of people to work a lot of hours to make new stuff all the time.
Epic, Epic is huge. That's why Fortnite can do what it can do.
Right.
I don't know if 343 Industries is not as big as Epic.
Yeah. Well, they could be. They would have to be if they want to make that.
Yes, but I also don't think Halo would ever be as big as Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was that news. Want to get into the pals?
Just want to give a 49ers versus Lions update. The score
49 Lions. What?
41-33. Oh, it ended. Oh, it's over.
Was that football?
Yeah, 49ers beat the Lions today. No, that's
That is
2021. No, 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 no. 49ers versus Lions score. Why would it show me when I say 49ers versus Lions score? Why would it show me something from 2020 fucking one on the top of my screen? What's wrong
I
with
don't
you,
know.
Google?
That's a pretty bad for Google.
Oh, it doesn't have to
That,
start until 3:30. Okay.
but also that was a high scoring game.
Yeah.
40-30?
Mm-hmm.
That's like every single time they get the ball, they score a touchdown.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a what's it called, an air show. Yeah.
That's like I don't know if both those teams are really good or if they're both really bad.
They were really good because it was it was an NFC championship title.
Okay,
The
okay.
same as today, the NFL the conference championships today. That's
Okay.
why I'm paying attention. So yeah, it starts in now. Its kickoff is technically now.
Oh.
So, all right. Let's see. My first item is I only have two. Actually, do you
Okay.
want to talk about the Pal World and then we'll talk about the Microsoft thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Get into some fun news. Anyways, Pal World has sold a just disgusting number of copies. It's you know what? It's almost selling like a Pokemon game.
It what a coincidence. It is almost selling like a Pokemon game, like a really, really good Pokemon game.
Yeah.
If
Uh,
only somebody had made a really, really good Pokemon game.
and we can get into that too. But yeah, the game like huge financial success.
By the way, they're not called Pal Balls, they're called Pal Spheres as opposed to
Oh, okay.
Pokeballs.
Okay, Pal Spheres.
Pal Spheres. Oh, yeah.
Pal
No, they've totally ridden every single teeny tiny edge that they can in this game. They are not even
But
trying.
you know what? You know what? Pal Ball might have been a little too close. They wanted to make sure. No, no
Pal
word is the
Sphere.
same. Pal Sphere. Um. So yes, the game since it came out and since it hit so big, it's been mired in controversy. Which I will say, my personal opinion, I think this is easily one of the dumbest controversies to come into gaming in the past several years. Because, and here's the thing, I think when you read comments online, when you read tweets, if you don't know who's saying it, I think there's a tendency to assume that the person saying it is like yourself, right?
Mhm.
I assume the person saying it is like hardcore gamer. They're probably an adult. They're probably
Right.
all this. But reading some of these comments about people getting really upset over the Pal World character designs,
Yeah.
it reeks. And I say this as
Yeah.
someone who went through it myself. It reeks of a 13-year-old who's really in love with Pokemon, who's like, You're
How
ripping off Pokemon?
dare
How
you?
dare you?
Oh my
Oh my
god,
god.
clutching the pearls. You've ripped off Pokemon.
Yes, and it's like, wow, you're really gonna defend Pokemon? Pokemon doesn't need your defense.
No.
Pokemon is they made a bad game and they sell 10 million copies. They don't need your
Right,
defense.
right, right.
Um, but it got to the point, so many people asking Nintendo, "Hey, Nintendo, have you seen this? Have you seen this?" And so Nintendo
Nintendo's like,
actually put out a
yeah.
statement. And the statement is hilarious because of how non-committal it is about
And they don't
everything.
even mention Pal World in the
Mm-mm.
statement. They don't even say Pal World.
They
They
said,
won't even let those words cross their lips.
quote, "We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We've not granted any permission to use Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate actions, blah, blah, blah." Basically, they said, yes, we know it exists. We're aware of it. And what's funny is, in the time that Powell has been out, someone already created a mod that puts actual Pokemon into the game. And Nintendo has already cracked down and stopped that mod.
Right, as well as it should.
Which like shows you like Palworld it was not a secret game. It's been showing off for the past several years. So, Nintendo knows of this game. They know it exists, and the reason
They
they haven't
knew it was
taken
existed before you even knew it
and the
existed.
reason they haven't taken legal action is because there is no legal action to take. Because Pokemon are not like copyright. The artistic style of Pokemon is not copyrightable. You can copyright the specific character designs, yes, but what Powell does really well is it takes that aesthetic and just applies it to different animals.
Just right. Just it like I said, it skirts that line. Doesn't call
Yeah.
them balls, it calls them spheres.
And the thing is,
It doesn't call it pokey, you call it pal.
you can look at some of those designs and go, boy, that design really looks like Pokemon X. But you know what? There are like 2,000 Pokemon. At this point, every game comes out with 150 new Pokemon. Like we've entered 4 digits in Pokemon. Pokemon themselves now look like ripoffs of other Pokemon. So when you rip off a Pokemon, yeah, it looks like a Pokemon because Pokemon themselves are ripped off of themselves. Like
Right.
it's an
Right.
Ouroboros that is now eating its own tail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if anything, what other people have said too is what the success of Power World shows is that Pokemon fans, I think that they are, for as much as Pokemon fans are complaining about the designs, there's also a bunch of Pokemon fans that are really, really into the game because they like that style. And if anything, it kind of shows that uh, Pokemon itself could branch out into other genres of games. Like if Pokemon made a survival game, maybe not one that is so puts the slavery so up front and center, but if you made a survival based Pokemon game, it would sell huge. Because I know one of the issues people have with a lot of the recent Pokemon games is that they just feel very stale. They feel
Mhm.
very samey. It's like you have a formula and you are just repeating that formula over and over and over again.
McDowell's, home of the big big Mick.
I feel like I've seen that in an anime show.
Um yeah, I just wonder, and I don't know if I mean this is just my conjecture, but it is so close to Pokemon and yet not Pokemon, and so obviously very intentional homage, should I say, of skirting with that art style, skirting with the naming conventions, skirting with so much of it.
Hmm.
I somewhat wonder if this game might have been pitched, or at least when it was conceived and like maybe shown to Nintendo to say, "Hey, would you like to do this game and Nintendo said no. That just has that feeling. Like, why? What's the name of the developer on this?
I don't know.
Yeah. Case in point, a tiny little nowhere developer. Nobody even knows the name.
Yeah.
That somebody might have gone to Pokemon, so to Nintendo, and said, hey, we've got an idea for a Pokemon game. And what do you think? And either they said, no, we don't want that. Or they saw it and then they made their own Pokemon game that sucked. And then the small developer went and said, okay, all right, want to play that game? We're just going to make that game, but it's not going to be Pokemon. It's going to be everything but Pokemon.
Maybe. But I think
Pocket Pair.
I think the idea of this game.
There's a story in that. There is absolutely a fucking story in there because there's no way that a small studio like Pocket Pair wouldn't have actually contacted Nintendo when they had this idea.
Oh,
because
no.
if it had been a Nintendo game, it would have been massive.
I can absolutely believe that they didn't contact Nintendo. Why would Nintendo talk to this tiny little developer?
To
Why
give them a
why does
ton of money to
Nintendo
make this game?
care? But Nintendo doesn't outsource Pokemon games. The Pokemon company makes Pokemon games. They don't outsource that shit.
Yeah, true.
I can fully believe that Pocket Pair is just a group of people. Some of them are fans of Pokemon, and they thought themselves, "Hey, you know what would be cool is if we made the game that we wish Nintendo would make."
Right.
Because
Yep.
there's no point in pitching this slavery focused idea to Nintendo because they would never go for it.
And honestly, if it had been Nintendo, it wouldn't have had the same
The
level
edge.
of like the edge, the
Yeah.
anything goes, like the actually capturing raiders and then selling them to a black market pal trader for a lot of money,
Yeah.
for
That
300 gold each. And sometimes
that
you come across them in groups of 5.
are they
That's a
hard to catch?
lot of money. No. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
sort of. The hardest thing is to not kill them.
okay, yeah.
That's really the biggest challenge, is to not kill them before you can capture them.
But yeah, I think that idea, that
But
is
even
one
so,
of
you
the
end up killing
things.
them, you get all their stuff. So, I mean, you would never be able to kill a Pokemon. You would never be able to kill a
No,
person.
you knock them out.
You'd knock them out, but you wouldn't
Yeah.
kill them.
No, that idea, the whole black market trading and selling of people, that I think that's where the game shines. That's what's made it so popular because it's taking
Pokemon without
yeah,
breaks.
it's taking the core idea of Pokemon, but then it's really leaning into all of the darker aspects of what that actually means
Mhm.
that Nintendo never acknowledges because you want to keep it a kid friendly. But this is the adult Pokemon game that people have been asking for a while.
Yeah.
Not just adult in like complicated mechanics, but adult in its themes and how those
Right.
mechanics work with the
Right.
themes.
Just being able to go that little bit farther than you
Yeah,
would if it was children that were playing
of
it.
just saying, you know what? We have this ball that captures living things. What if I threw it at a person?
What if I threw it at the trader who comes through to
Yeah.
trade stuff with me?
What if I threw it at a person and then what does that even mean for society? If you
Right.
can capture
What if I
people in the
killed what if I
Pokeball.
set my pal to go kill the trader?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
it's a cool idea. Um, there won't be any legal action taken because there's no point to it. Nintendo knows it exists. They stopped a mod that put actual Pokemon in there. When
Yeah.
Nintendo can take legal action, they take legal action. The fact that they haven't yet is proof that it won't happen. So all the people complaining, stop complaining.
Yeah. It has Viva Pinata harvesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you really consider it, Viva Pinata is kind of Pokemon too.
Yeah, yeah.
It
The
is
only
kind of
thing, the only thing that really set apart was the pinata aesthetic.
the pinata aesthetic, and that you have to attract them and then coax them to stay,
Yeah.
as
In
opposed to
fact,
capturing them with a ball.
you know what? If Nintendo just made Pokemon Garden, that's Viva Pinata.
It's being the pinata.
Just take
Mhm.
Viva Pinata, reskin it, has Pokemon Garden, and there you go.
Yeah. Do a mod for that and get sued. So yeah, it just the whole idea of Pokemon of Pal World delights me, because it is kind of this grown up middle finger of like, fuck you guys. Fuck you
Mhm.
guys. We're just gonna make our own thing, and we're not gonna follow your norms, and we're gonna make it by adult. The whole thing has got an edge to it. Even in the concept of creating something like this has a certain amount of edginess of like, fuck you and your kid friendly bullshit. We're gonna make first we're gonna stick our finger in your eye, and then we're gonna make the game that we want to play.
If anything, this feels like the ultimate fan game.
Mhm. Yeah. It's like seeing Mickey Mouse naked,
Mm,
because you can now.
yeah.
Steamboat Mickey, you can make naked.
Oh yeah, already. I think there's like 2 or 3 Steamboat Willie horror things out there. I
Yes,
think
there
there's a
is.
movie coming out, there's already a game coming out.
I'm really surprised there isn't any Steamboat Willie porn at this point.
I know there is. There
It's
is.
got to
We
be.
we just haven't seen it.
Little Steamboat Willie hentai going.
Look, let's be honest. There was Steamboat Willie porn a year ago.
Yeah, that probably was years ago.
The people that would make Steamboat Willie porn, they don't give a
Yeah.
shit about copyright.
No, no, no.
If anything, that just makes it harder.
All right, so my first item is, we're talking about big news of the week.
Did you say Siri?
Steamboat Willie's Willie. Maybe that's what we need to do. We make an AO game that's a Steamboat Willie AO game called Steamboat's Willie.
Yeah. I'm surprised there hasn't been Steamboat's Willie.
Okay.
Okay.
My
Serious
item.
face.
Serious face. This is not this is very serious. The kind of the huge news of the week, after many weeks of many layoffs within the game industry just in this month alone, and it's only the 28th. Well, we got a couple of more days left. Microsoft announced this week it was laying off 1,900 people. And I think it represents something like 7 or 8% of Microsoft, which is a massive amount if you consider how big Microsoft is. However, that's of the company. It was very much focused entirely on Microsoft gaming. And moreover, it was not a burden shared equally among all areas of Microsoft gaming.
Hmm.
So, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of people looking to see exactly who was laid off, what divisions were laid off, what studios were laid off. So yeah, 1,900 staff. By the way, that makes something close to 6,000 people within the game industry in general that have lost their jobs just in January of this
Yeah,
year.
I think we're approaching the total for 2023 in the
All
first
of
month of 2024.
Yep. And there's no indication that this is the end.
Yeah, I think there was an article on GameIndustry.biz that was something like, "Yeah, this is gonna last for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Brace for up to 2 years of pain."
Yep. So, so the news was first broken by IGN. They were claimed to have been shown a memo from Phil Spencer, indicating that this was happening, and it's unclear exactly which teams officially are the gaming departments that have been affected. The internal memo did state that those who are being laid off, quote, have all played an important role in the success of Activision, Blizzard, ZeniMax, and Xbox teams. So, Bellular News, actually, bless their little hearts, they have gone deep into LinkedIn postings and
Hmm.
Twitter postings and reaching out to their own sources, which are not inconsequential, trying to figure out exactly how much of where was cut. And they did a video earlier this week. I think it was just like yesterday or the day before, kind of going into what they have found. Of course, this is all rumors and conjecture based on their research and what they had heard. But they said that their sources went into some detail and which teams were seeing bigger cuts and which weren't. Some teams obviously more affected than others. So the types of the workers that were let go indicates it wasn't just about the merger. And that is
Hmm.
despite what Phil Spencer had said, that it was about cutting redundancies or quote unquote areas of overlap. Now, a lot of people missed that what he said was refocusing of priorities and areas of overlap. A lot of people assumed that the areas of overlap was going to be the key focus. It's not. It's really about refocusing priorities.
Yeah.
Some of the layoffs were in core Xbox studios. And some of these studios have delivered some key games, very important games, big games. And so it's not just about the duplications being reduced. For example, one of the teams that has been slashed is involved with Overwatch 2, specifically the PvE team. They had nothing to do with the Activision merger, but they've been essentially slashed completely.
Okay.
So, Blizzard employees were reportedly assured that this merger, before the merger happened, that they would not result in mass layoffs. Were absolutely said flat out, this is not going to result in mass layoffs, which made everybody at Blizzard Activision like thrilled because, hey, we're getting rid of Bobby Kotick. We're replacing him with Phil Spencer, who we like a whole lot more, and no mass layoffs.
Yeah, and like there weren't mass layoffs during their other acquisitions.
Right. When they did ZeniMax, they didn't have mass layoffs. So
Yeah.
they were under the impression that this was going to be similar. When they acquired Bethesda, there was no mass layoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of them that were lost their jobs wrote that they were couldn't express how angry they were because this had happened when they had been expressly and very specifically told this would not happen. In quote, she said, he or she said, liars, all of them. There's no reason to believe any executive in the games industry anymore. They give themselves golden parachutes and give us the shaft. So
Hmm.
people are pissed, to say like the minimum about it. It is the amount of hate over this layoffs is more than I've seen for any other layoffs. Like other times, people are just like angry and sad. Now, this group of people feel betrayed. So first, the survival game, which that's all we knew about it. That has been in development since 2017. It has reportedly been in kind of development hell because it was, a Blizzard game and sorry, an Activision game.
I thought it was
And
I thought it was Blizzard.
as it was Blizzard, yeah, Blizzard, but also Activision, obviously parent company. But
Yeah, yeah.
it was because they started working on it, and this is kind of like the rumor of what's going down, of why it was in development hell, is that Activision, once they pitched it, Activision said, great, we're going to greenlight it. However, we don't want you to do it on Unreal. We want you to do it on our in-house engine called Synapse.
Okay.
And because they wanted to have 100-player maps. So
Okay. What
the team was
Unreal
prototyping it
Engine?
in Unreal, which isn't unusual for companies to do prototyping because it's so much faster and easier to work with than your own, like, in-house engine. But
Mhm.
knowing full on that they were doing all this work and it was all going to get thrown away because it was on Unreal. They were going to have to do it again
Mm,
on Synapse. So, of course, all these people were working their asses off, but it was a little bit of a shit show because everybody's working on stuff that they knew they're just going to have to work all over again when they
yeah.
actually switch it over.
Huh.
So, everyone, everyone on the entire game was axed, gone,
Oh,
the whole
so it
thing.
wasn't just the game, it was everything related to it.
Everybody who was working on it axed.
Wow.
Overwatch designers, animators, and encounter designers were all laid off. Seasonal events and PVEs are obviously going to be effective. In fact, they have gotten rid of pretty much everybody that was working on the promised PVE for Overwatch 2. That's gone. Diablo 4 was not indicated that it's as affected, but it had some people affected.
Okay, that makes sense.
Animators and encounter artists. Again, animators
It's
and encounter
I
artists.
mean, live service game requires a lot of people working on it. I'm sure, you know, someone's working on it.
Yeah, yeah, but they got rid of some of them. Um, so
Hmm.
that game is affected. Generally speaking, from what it sounds like, that if it is a game that especially from Activision, that is a established IP that makes tons of money, it's going to be less affected. But if it's not a big game or not a hugely successful game, or it's a new IP, it's kind of it was on the chopping block.
Yeah.
So Double Four did get some hits with their encounter artists. So even
Hmm.
if it was an established game like Diablo 4, which is making money, makes a ton of money, but even so, you're going to see a degradation in service, because if you're losing animators and encounter artists, um, you're going to have issues. WoW is the same thing. They did lose some WoW people, not as many as other teams, obviously, but you're going to see a degradation in the quality that you're going to get of future stuff that's going to be rolling out from them, and maybe even the pace at what you're going to be seeing. Call of Duty, which is a huge moneymaker and a very established IP, had quite a lot of layoffs.
Hmm.
Raven, Treyarch, High Moon, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer all lost significant amounts of people,
Really
according to
significant.
reports. Sledgehammer, for example, 30% of their team was laid off. So you're talking about
Wow.
8% of the 8% of the Microsoft gaming, but it's 30% a Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Toys for Bob, which is another one of their in-house studios, lost more than 30 staff members, but they only have 85 staff members working for them.
Huh.
So that's 40% of their studio was axed.
Oh, geez.
Q&A has reportedly been almost completely obliterated. The community management throughout Activision Blizzard was all but carpet bombed. According to reports, they essentially got rid of almost every single person and are going to be outsourcing all of their community management to third-party companies and QA to third-party companies. So they're outsourcing everything.
So basically, they fire everyone, then hire them back as contractors.
Yeah. Well, hire back another company that does it as a contractor, so that they're working, like hourly, minimum wage jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft also reportedly shut down all departments dedicated to bringing Xbox games to physical retail. So that's one way to make sure that you go all digital, is to get rid of your physical departments.
Yeah. Huh. That
All
that's
customer.
in, that's really interesting. When you then consider that from the leaked documents, um, um, they have that new digital console coming out maybe this year or next year, right? Like
Mhm.
if they're putting out a console that's all digital, then they fire the whole physical manufacturing team. Huh.
Oh, Cheryl Platts, formerly of Riot. Here's a fun fact. We got a new therapy benefit at Riot, and we were encouraged to try out and a therapist try it out. And a therapist had an intake session at 3 today. So I moved some meetings to take a personal hour. Halfway through the call, my Slack errored out and all my Google sessions logged
Oh,
out.
jeez.
So she's in a
In
in
a
a
me.
meeting in an intake with a
Oh,
therapist
jeez.
for Riot's therapist benefit. when she gets gone. Ugh. Um, yeah. Jorge Murillo's last message before Slack was deactivated, I think it was said something like, "It's nice to know that I was able to contribute to the increased market share for the shareholders." All right. So getting back to what was axed and what wasn't.
Yeah, from
Um,
Microsoft.
Microsoft reportedly shut down all departments dedicated to. Sorry, we talked about that. Battle.net. Battle.net.
Really?
Yeah, is and like cremated practically. They're I think the entire thing is in the Austin studios, but that sort of kind of makes sense from an business standpoint, from a stupid business standpoint. Why would you have Battle.net if you have the Xbox Game Store?
That's true.
But then again, from a consumer standpoint, do you really want to have to go to game stores every time that you want something off of Battle.net?
Well, yeah, I imagine that BattleNet will just kind of be slowly
Phase out.
sunsetted.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's going to be
phased out.
sunsetted. Well, not slowly.
Yeah, not
Not
anymore.
slowly. Not as of a couple days ago. All customer service, in-house customer service, non-contract employee customer service, gone.
That just seems like a dick move.
Yeah. It's
Of
a
like,
real dick move for
customers don't
everybody.
need service.
Right. Oh, but they do need service, but we're going to
Make it
going to
AI.
outsource it. Going to make it AI or outsource it to, the same guys that give you customer service from Amazon because they do such a great job.
Mhm.
Essentially overseas. So it's going to suck for everybody in place like, US. It's going to be not great for everybody in the US, but it's going to really suck for anybody outside of the US. You're going to have a huge degradation in the ability to get any kind of service from customer service. So, community managers gone, all going to be outsourced. The community manager for Fallout 76, who apparently everybody loved and was really a reason why a lot of people who stayed with Fallout 76 through all of the really crappy times, she got axed, and she was with them since the bad days, since the beginning, and she got axed. So yeah, pretty much customer service, community management, QA, any small company that isn't working, smaller studio, that Xbox studio, or even a Activision studio that isn't working on something actually actively an existing IP, and even if it was an existing IP, chances are it got hammered as well. Only thing they think that they say that wasn't like just you know rated was Diablo 4 and World of Warcraft.
Hmm.
But of note, Mike Ibarra, chief design officer, and Alan Adam also left, and they said that they had a great time there, and they really are looking forward to what's going on to happen in the future
Oh,
with their
yeah.
golden parachutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they landed okay. Aren't we feel better about that? Feel better about that? One. I'm gonna retrain your body to just be a single sneezer.
No, you won't, because what you do is it just gets pent up until the next sneeze. Rachel can tell you this morning, I sneezed like 15 times in a row.
Getting it out of your system early because you knew that you weren't going to be able to sneeze during the show. So yeah, all kinds of bad.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that there's a couple things going on, and this is my, tin hat conspiracy.
Okay.
So 2022, 2021 were kind of even 2020 were kind of the years where the workers of the game industry started pushing back. They
Mhm.
started unionizing. They started saying, we're not doing the crunch anymore. We can't do this. We're a mature industry. You cannot keep destroying us. We deserve to be respected as professionals, and we demand better pay and better working conditions. And all these companies just kind of kept quiet and just kind of went with it.
Well, I don't know. Activision fought pretty hard.
Activision fought pretty hard, and then it sold to Microsoft, who then did all the axing.
But I think I read somewhere that none of the union jobs were axed.
Oh,
That
really?
all the people at Activision who had unionized.
Oh, really?
I saw a tweet from like
I
the
didn't read that.
I'll have to try to find it. I saw a tweet from like the union organizer that's like, "Hey, boy, don't you wish you were in a union?" Basically, it was like, "Hey, this proves you
Yeah,
probably need a union."
yeah. Because we had those years of we're not going to the sexism, the racism, the abuse, the poor pay, the bad working conditions, this essentially chewing people up and spitting them out, the breakdowns, the unaliving yourselves, all of the things. They weren't going to put it up with it anymore. And then all of a sudden now, layoff, 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 layoff. It's like their way of saying, you thought you won, you didn't. It's the Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, yeah. So this I'm seeing this Stephen Totillo tweeted a statement by the Communication Workers of America, the CWA, who represents people at ZeniMax, Raven, and Blizzard Albany. Today's announcement by Microsoft underscores the importance of having a union voice on the job. With the union, employees are required to negotiate over the impact of layoffs. While CWA represented members at ZeniMax, Raven, and Blizzard Albany will not be impacted by these cuts.
The
We
Raven
are
QA guys were not
heartbroken
because
with the lives of so many, blah, blah, blah.
really, so the Raven QA guys kept their jobs because they were the one. That was the big thing is that their QA went union.
Hmm.
That was kind of like the big fight with the union stuff.
I mean, I'll bet
Interesting.
Microsoft didn't do that because one of the things that they touted to get the acquisition signed off on by
Is that they
government
weren't going to
is,
break the union?
yeah, remember they had that whole full page ad in like the Wall Street Journal that was like, "We're pro union. We don't mind this at all. We're happy." And like the CWA basically co-signed that saying, "Hey, see, these guys, Microsoft gets it. You should let them acquire Activision."
Yeah, yeah. And here's what they did though, is they fired everybody
Everybody
non-union,
else.
everybody else, so that you're having to do the same amount of work, fewer people. So you're
Hmm.
just going to burn people out until they leave, and of course, they'll probably have a hiring freeze.
Yeah, yeah.
So who we can't fire, we can attrit, if that is a word.
Hmm.
What is the what is the verb of attrition?
Burnout?
Attrit? No. How do you when you're getting rid of somebody by attrition? Is it attritting them?
No, it would be
What would be the verb for attrition? The act of
the act of attrition would be, I don't know. I don't think it would be attriting. That doesn't
that's
sound
not a
right.
word. That's not a word, but it should be because that's what they're doing is they're attriting everybody
Yeah.
so that they all leave and then they don't hire them back so that the union shrinks itself. That's the downside of everybody not being in a union is that they have ways of making you squeal. They
Yeah.
have ways of making you leave that are not firing you. Ugh. And the thing is that there's nothing that the union can do about it because they don't represent those workers.
Yeah.
Nothing they can do. Nothing they can do. Awful. Awful. Sucks. So, you expect to see more suck out of
Yeah.
everything involved with the Xbox right now, which is a
Expect
terrible thing to be doing because, of course, Sony, yeah, they probably wanna get away get fire a lot of people too, but because Sony is based in Japan, have different labor laws. One of the
mm,
rules about labor laws there is that you cannot do mass layoffs unless you can prove that you have done everything else short of going out of business,
mm.
including cutting costs.
Well, there's plenty of American Sony studios that they could just fuck
Probably,
off.
probably, but the vast majority of what they have
So
there,
now you wanna play a fun thought experiment. How many of these people would have lost their jobs if Microsoft had not acquired Activision?
none.
Now, I'll bet you there still would have been layoffs,
But
right?
it's like nowhere near what it was. Nope.
Activision would have laid people off, but I don't know if they would have laid off 2,000 people.
Right, but it wasn't all Activision people that lost their jobs.
No,
A
that's
lot
true.
of them
That's
were.
true.
But it wasn't all Activision. I think Xbox might have, but the cost benefit of getting rid of the people that they did in Xbox probably wouldn't have
Which
offset enough,
which
wouldn't
is
have moved
also
the needle enough to make a difference for the shareholders.
like it feels weird to take some of these really deep cuts to the Xbox development teams because Xbox is still in the midst of its redemption tour, right? They went they went like a whole generation not putting out games. They acquired a whole bunch of studios and even they acquired a ZeniMax several years ago.
Mhm. They've been on a
They're
buying spree.
they're just now starting to reap the fruits of that acquisition spree. Except the fruits have been uh Redfall, the Starfield,
Starfield.
and it's like this year, they had their showcase. We got Senua's Sacrifice or Saga.
Senua's Saga.
We got Hellblade 2.
Uh,
We got Avowed. We got
mhm,
Indiana Jones and what was the last one? The Civ game. Raw, Aura, something like that.
mhm.
So like they have 4 first party games coming out. Will they be good? We don't know. But like this is the year that supposedly Xbox kind of turns it around, especially because Sony doesn't have any big first party games slated for this year at the moment. This is like Microsoft's chance, or this is Xbox's chance to finally turn the page, to
Mhm.
turn the tide
Right.
of that perception
To
of,
to
yeah,
be the Xbox,
Xbox
to
can't
turn
make
the
games.
Xbox Series X into the Xbox 360, which is what they want.
Yeah.
The dominant console.
And so right as they're in the middle of that, yeah, let's cut these teams. Let's cut 'em to the bone.
And cut them, and not only that, not just cut them, but cut them in such an ugly way. I don't think that they recognized what reverberations that would have outside of the industry. I don't think that they ever thought that we would be talking in depth, like podcasts like us, talking about in depth of the bloodletting that just happened.
Mm,
We would just say, "Oh yeah, 1,900 people lost their job. That sucks." 8% of Xbox gaming. They would never expect people to actually
yeah.
go in,
Yeah,
and I don't think that they expected the vitriol the coming out of everybody on Twitter. I
yeah,
should
it's
say
something
on
that
X.
Remap talked about briefly is that in this environment of layoffs, you've got a lot of companies that are like, well, we don't need to lay people off, but if we do it now, we basically get a get out of criticism free
Right,
card.
because it's yeah, you're hiding among the zebras. Nobody can attack
Hmm.
any one zebra if you're just one
Yeah.
of many studios that are all like if you're only getting rid of 500, you barely even make the news at this point because there's so many more companies with Google, and it's not just gaming. It's all tech industries that are getting rid of people and firing them in very public ways.
Mhm.
To the point of where people are recording their call of being fired and putting it on TikTok. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's very hard to actually be singled out. So I don't think Microsoft thought that they would be singled out quite as much as they are, and that it would alarm consumers as much as
Yeah.
it did. They thought that it would just make all of the shareholders happy because, of course, now also
It
consider
would
the
just
fact this:
be part of the news.
all of many of these other companies right now are seeing economic downturns, and that's why they're cutting jobs, is because it's harder to make, they're not making as much money.
Yeah.
Microsoft, one of the more profitable companies
Didn't
in the
they
world.
didn't they just become a trillion-dollar company?
Yep, they sure as hell did. Activision made money hand over fist. Both of them were very profitable companies, and they merged, and now they're cutting people. This has nothing to do with profits,
Yeah.
because both of them were profitable.
And, like
Standing alone with all of the people that they had, they were profitable.
and, like, in any big acquisition, layoffs are to be expected.
Yeah.
Like, everyone
Duplicate jobs, that's to be expected.
yeah, everyone expected that. Uh, but this is too big of a number to be just that. And so it's
Clearly
like
not.
yeah, it's like
Clearly not.
the question is, like, what are you trying to hide within this?
Yep.
AC not AC Wraith,
That Microsoft did announce shortly after this mass layoff, that it had hit a new record high for its company valuation,
yeah,
which was just bad timing.
creation chaos. Praise be
Yeah.
to capitalism.
Yeah, I know.
I know, I confused you with AC Wraith. I did it. I did the thing. I'm
You
sorry.
did the thing. See, it's
Um,
not just
but
me. You used to give me a hard time. I
it's
haven't done that
because it's
in a
because
long time.
it's because
Right, AC Wraith? And
your
yes, I
name
talked to AC
has
Wraith.
2 C's in it, and so I see C, chaos. Oh, that must be C, the other guy, AC.
Yeah.
Anyways, Creation Chaos says, it's because the bottom line will always outweigh any rep to corporations.
Yeah.
Also, rep becomes less valuable the more big studios you own. What are you gonna do? Play Battleborn? But, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true, but also Microsoft needs the reputation
Yeah.
because the
This is
reputation has been crap for so long.
this is
Like,
not Google, this is not Facebook, this is Microsoft, and they are literally in a war of reputation at this point.
their whole argument for acquiring Activision was, boy, look at how bad we are in gaming. We're third place by such a distance. We're so bad. We need this help. We really need this help.
Yeah.
And what's also crazy
They
is
they didn't they had no idea. They did not know that they had stepped on a landmine when they did that.
like
And I know Phil didn't do that, because
if you
it's hard for Phil to
no.
argue that he is, a gamer's gamer when he's done this.
Oh yeah.
Now, all of a sudden now, he truly is the corporate shill that many knew him to be and really didn't wanna believe he was.
Mm. Like Xbox's plan for the future. Like I firmly believe that if they could get off of a console, they would. If they could if Apple allowed we can transition that into the other news. If Apple allowed Game Pass on their console, on like phones, if my TV could have Game Pass installed on it, has an Roku app
Mhm.
that I could then stream games to. If Sony would let Game Pass be on their service and maybe take a cut, then Microsoft would do that. They would stop producing an Xbox console and they would just be a Netflix of gaming.
Right.
The problem is that none of the infrastructure is there yet. But I get the sense that that is where they want to go. But to do that, you need to have a pretty sterling reputation, because if you're at least like Xbox does, because if you're going to put out like this service, like, hey, look, Game Pass is on Roku, you need people to like Game Pass. And that means you need people to like Xbox. Like if you want to expand, you need people to like your brand. And the hardest thing, like they've been on a brand campaign, like a rebranding campaign the past several years because their brand was so notoriously poor. Like it wasn't so much like people hated Xbox. It was more just like, oh yeah, Xbox, they used to be good, but not anymore.
Hey, Siri, Chris, sorry. Whoops, almost did it. Creature Chaos says I should join the podcast again so you can hear me rant about stuff like this. Do you want to? I can send you a link.
Yeah. He says if Microsoft sucked it up and took the 30% hit and ran Game Pass on Steam, 1,000%
1000% would have
have
had.
it.
Uh-huh.
Aw.
Not right now. Oh, bummer.
But yeah, like they kind of need the reputation. This certainly doesn't help the reputation. I hope to God that those 4 games coming out set the world on fire.
They better be good.
Because if they don't,
If they're another Starfield, if they're another, heaven forbid, Redfall,
I don't. Okay, honestly, I don't think they will
and
be.
I
Redfall.
really hope.
I don't think so.
I really hope that, because remember, Xbox bought a lot of studios, and not big studios, little studios. They bought a lot of little studios in the last few years. If they have bought another studio in the next year to year and a half, as tone deaf as they are, I would not put it past them for them to announce in the next 3 months that they've acquired another studio.
Yeah, no. If you acquire another studio after Activision,
After Activision, after laying everybody off, yeah, that would be really bad. I think that anyone who maybe had been considering that maybe they might want to sell to Xbox would be heavily reconsidering that proposition now.
yeah.
Might be
Chaos
getting
does
weak.
say,
Really?
yeah.
Really? That would be nice. I would love to have you back. I miss you. Miss you so much. Somebody needs to
Come
fight
on
with Nick
back.
more than me.
I need someone else to help me stretch it to 3 hours.
No.
I can't do it on my
Please
own.
don't. Please don't. Please don't. Come on. Come on. I got dogs. I mean, it was funny when I had somebody else in the house to walk the dogs. It's not funny anymore. Whole different ball game.
I mean, we still haven't gotten to the other huge news of the week.
Speaking of ball game, let me just check.
Yeah.
14-7 already.
Go.
14-7 second quarter. Just started the second quarter. Detroit Lions 14, San Francisco 49ers 7.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought
Lions scored
49ers.
two 49ers or two touchdowns in the first quarter, and already the 49ers have scored a touchdown in the second quarter. It's 11 minutes in. Sorry, 11 minutes left in the second quarter.
I'm actually surprised. I thought 49ers were like the team to beat this year. I thought they were doing like really well.
They are doing really well, but also Detroit Lions they're
also
doing really well. They're 14-5.
Wait, let's see. What's NFL?
We're 13-5. They're 14-5.
Chaos is like, what is this? A sports podcast?
Yeah. Well, on a day like this, yes. Holy crap. It's been freaking freezing and raining for weeks. Today, the weather is in the high 60s, low 70s. There was such a sense of almost global jubilation throughout the entire Bay Area that it would be a nice day for the football game. Like, it was insane how like people were walking in going, "Oh my God." Although I have to say, I walked out of the house this morning to walk the dogs, and I stood out in the front porch, and the sun hit me in the face, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's the sun! I missed you!" And just that time, the neighbors across the street walked out, and they're like, "I know, isn't it great? We forgot what it feels like. I had to put on sunscreen this morning for the first time in a month."
Okay,
So,
yeah. For those that care, both the Lions and the 49ers have the same ratio: 12 wins, 5 losses.
no, we're 14-5. Lions are 14-5. 49ers 13-5.
Really?
Yeah.
No. One thing I found is
This is
bad.
according to Google.
Now it's a
And
weather
49ers just
podcast.
Detroit Lions just gave up the ball without a score, and now 49ers have the ball at
Ooh, ooh.
the
Can we
San
become
Francisco 12.
an unofficial NFL commentary stream?
Sure.
Can we? Can I put the game on somehow? Oh, and comment on it. Oh, number 24's got it. He's going.
He's going deep. He could go all the way. Yeah, 49ers have got the ball on the San Francisco 12. So apparently it looks like it was probably they didn't they had a like not a kickoff, but they'd kicked.
Is it on Peacock? I have Peacock. I can
I
sign
have
in.
by the way, did you know that if you have Instacart membership, you get free Peacock membership?
Really?
Yes. And we have Instacart for my company. So I signed up for the Peacock.
Oh, nice.
So I'm getting Peacock for 30 through my company.
It's not
I had to
bad
put it in
of all
sci-fi
the
terms.
of all the
In honor
streaming.
of Detroit, I call it the ED 49ers versus RoboCops. Yes, exactly. All right. Moving right along. Before I have to pee again, I'm sorry, I'm drinking a lot of water today. I've had to drink. Was told that I need to drink more water. I was told that I was very severely dehydrated last week. So it's like, okay, all right. I actually got to drink this clear stuff. Because I go to work and I don't really, I sit down and I don't eat and I don't drink until 4:30. And it's like, oh crap, I guess I should have
Oh,
something. Yeah. I have a
yeah.
cup of coffee in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I don't pee or
I mean,
eat or drink
I
all
usually
day.
have a coffee with me that I go through quite a bit, but
No, no. I,
mm,
I I just I because I get so focused on what I'm doing that I forget, and then next thing you know, it's like, why is my stomach? Oh, that's why my stomach hurts because I haven't eaten or drank anything. And so yeah, the
oh,
doctor was like, yeah, I like your
yeah,
problem is that you're not eating enough and you're not drinking water. That's that's one of the reasons why you're having problems with your stomach. So they're
yeah,
making me drink water.
that's what you do if your job keeps you focused
Yeah,
the whole time.
this happens when I play video games.
Oh, it happens when I play video games, not when I work.
Happens exactly. It happens when I
Yeah.
play video games and when I work. It just shows to show how much I like my game, my work. Okay, you go talk. I have to pee again.
Ooh,
Now that we've
okay,
talked
wait.
about that, I gotta pee again.
Okay, I wanna know about this. With Walmart Plus, you get the best subscription service, Paramount Plus?
Really?
Why is Paramount Plus the best? Because we have Paramount Plus. We're using it to watch what were you watching? We were watching a competition called Buddy Games, which is actually like a cute, fun reality competition show. But like, why Paramount Plus? What's your rationing, Chaos? Are you being sarcastic? Are you being serious? It's not bad. It has Star Trek Lower Decks. Like that's honestly the best show on Paramount Plus is Lower Decks.
Lower decks. What's that? What's that about?
It's a animated comedy Star Trek show about like the people working in the lower decks of a Starfleet ship.
Oh, that's kind of
It's
cool.
it's really good. It's really good.
Oh, it's on Fox on TV.
Okay, sarcasm. It is hot garbage.
Okay.
Maybe
So
not
it's on
hot
Fox
garbage.
and it's on the CBS Sports app.
What is?
The game.
Oh, I don't have either of those.
I don't have either of those as well. I did sign up for Fox so I could watch the debate, the Gavin Newsom Ron DeSantis debate, because I'm a political nerd. But then of course, I signed up for it for the 7 days free, watched it for one day, and was like, bye.
Look,
That's how I do
sweetie,
things.
I like
Those
horror.
free trials, man, they just save my ass. That and having 7 different email addresses save my ass.
I really love horror movies. there's a lot of really bad horror movies out there. Just because I like horror doesn't mean I have to watch every single horror movie that comes
Come
out.
on, that was
Some
my
movies
that's my
are,
governor. That's my supervisor.
and you know what? Steven Spielberg has made some bad movies.
Yeah.
It,
And
it
and, and honestly, yeah, but
you can love politics. You don't need to watch.
yes, I
You
do. Yes,
don't
I
need to
do.
watch Ron
This because
DeSantis.
this no, not Ron DeSantis, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, but Ron DeSantis was there.
Yeah, but I wanted to see what Gavin and Ron went. It was just too good not to.
But you still had to watch Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, but I really
That's
wanted
a
to
that's a
watch
that's a pretty
Gavin
big con.
Newsom because that could ostensibly affect my life in a very
Yeah.
material way of Gavin Newsom's performance there in a very material way.
But you still had to look at Ron
I
DeSantis.
did have to look at Ron DeSantis, that crazy ass weirdo from Florida. Anyway, um, next item.
Okay, yeah, I
I
thought you had to go.
really have to pee now. So you can't make it go 3 hours, but you can just make my bladder burst. Got it. Excellent.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. Well, AC Wraith, we'll keep the streaming talk going. AC Wraith says he would have liked to watch Picard on Paramount Plus, but heard it went downhill. Oh, except apparently season 2 was bad, but season 3 was great. I heard that, and granted, like everything I know about, I'm not a Trekkie, and so everything I know about Picard, I've only gotten like fourth hand. I heard like season 1 was like a pretty good standalone story. I I forget why people didn't like season 2, but I thought season 3 people liked because it just leaned hard into nostalgia. Like it had a whole bunch of people from Next Generation on it. It was like the Avengers of Star Trek. Also, I have gleaned through various YouTube shows and like tweets and stuff. But anyways, moving on to like the other actual big news of the week. There's the layoffs and what that meant. But what also happened is Apple, a lot of rulings came down this week in which Apple complied with a bunch of legal rulings. The first was its ruling, the judge's ruling about Apple versus Epic. So if you remember, way back, Epic sued Apple to over their cut of 30% on iOS store. And there's a lot of other stuff that had to do with like the freedom of the walled garden, basically. Epic largely lost that fight. But one of the things that the judge required Apple to do is to allow third-party payment systems on its iOS platform. Apple appealed that, as everyone knew they would, but recently the Supreme Court decided not to hear that appeal. So that means that Apple had to comply with the judge's ruling about third-party app payments on its walled garden iOS. They did comply in the most bad faith, malicious way possible. So, to sum this up, Apple took 30% of its cuts on payments, right? Everyone knows that. Well, the injunction that the judge applied doesn't say that Apple can't take a commission from purchases made on external websites. So they're taking full advantage of that. Apple will now take a 27% cut of any purchases made through third-party systems. I mean, but if a developer uses a third-party system, usually that party takes a 3% cut, which brings their total back to
30%.
30. So it's like, this is
Oh my
bullshit.
god.
But it doesn't
it's like
but it
you
doesn't
wanna
end.
get sued again. You just wanna get sued again, don't you?
It doesn't end there.
Oh, no.
Apple says you cannot put links to a third-party payment system in what is the specifically an in-app flow to merchandise. What that means is you can't put it on the store page. So if I'm in a mobile game and I go to the store page and I'm trying to buy a microtransaction, I want to buy coins. I want to buy 100 coins.
Mhm.
They can't put the link to third-party payment systems on that store page. They have to put it elsewhere. So in the flow from me deciding to buy something, that in-app flow to merchandise, that sequence of button presses I would press to pay them, I can't put a link there to third-party payment. I have to put it on like the homepage. I have to put it on the help page. I have to put it someplace completely different. Uh Not only that, let's see. There was one other thing. Oh yeah, there's like another fee that they will charge. If you're part of the small business program, they will discount another fee. Let's see. Yeah, any commission that takes place on the developer's website within 7 days after a user taps the external purchase link, they get a cut of that.
Mhm.
Which basically means if I'm playing Fortnite and I want to buy a skin and I'm playing on iOS. Look, Fortnite's not on iOS. I know. Bear with me. Um, I'm on iOS.
It's
I
a thought experiment, guys.
and
Come
and
on.
and I decide I don't want to give this to Apple. I'm going to click the link that takes me to Epic's third-party payment. If I decide, no, I don't want to buy that yet, but I keep that tab open, it doesn't matter. Any purchase I make through that link within 7 days of clicking it, Apple will take a cut of it. So basically, this is the most
Oh, that's shitty. That's almost practically borderline illegal.
this is the absolute most bad faith compliance that Apple could have possibly done. And what is it? This is from The Verge. Daniel McCuig. He's a former trial attorney for the Department of Justice, and he says it's unlikely that the court blesses this. That basically Apple is doing this knowing that it will get taken to court again. Like this is just them dragging their heels on actual realistic compliance. And that's what makes it such a bad faith reading. So yeah, you thought Microsoft were assholes. Apple is out here just like openly showering in the hate and vitriol of developers, just like fuck you. But that's not all they did.
Uh-huh.
Because also this week, Apple had to comply with the EU rulings about opening up its App Store to third party app stores.
Mhm.
So that whole fight Epic was fighting and basically lost in the US, the EU won. And they're like, hey, you have to allow third party app stores onto your iOS system. And Apple had this week announced what that would look like.
Mhm.
And what that would look like is a whole lot more bad faith.
Ah.
So what you have to do, first of all, any app on an alternative app store still has to be notarized by Apple. So that means they still have to give permission for an app to be on a third-party app store if it is going to be sold on iOS.
Mhm.
Um, Second, you could only have one version of an app across stores. So that means you can't have a version of Fortnite on the iOS store and a different version of Fortnite on the Epic store.
Mhm.
If an app is going to be sold on iOS, then it has to be one version across all storefronts. Also, none of this applies to iPad because Apple is making the argument that the OS on iPads is different than the OS for iPhones. So
Mhm.
all of this is only for phones.
Interesting.
Um, but so what it means is, okay, I'm just going to read from this Verge article. In order to be used on iPhone, these marketplaces have to go through Apple's approval process. Once you download one, you have to explicitly give it permission to download apps to your device. Once that happens, you can download anything, including stuff that violates the App Store guidelines. Developers can choose to use Apple's payment systems. If the developer chooses to use Apple's existing in-app payment system, there's an additional 3% processing fee by it. But one thing that has gotten people really flustered is, and where is it? The new core technology fee will charge developers about 50% per annual app install. But this fee only kicks in after 1 million installs in the EU.
Mm-hmm.
What this basically amounts to is a tax on freemium games, free games with a lot of in-app purchases. I'm trying to get the details. Like I said, it's super technical. I'm trying to find exactly what it was about that fee. Basically, it's a fee that means if you sell your app for free, but it's super popular and a lot of people download it, you'll be on the hook for paying for all of those downloads.
Really?
Yeah, it's basically like the Unity's runtime fee,
Mm-hmm.
except Apple is doing it for like individual downloads of an app.
Right.
S- there's a lot more to this. I don't know the exact technical things. I've hit my limit on technical understanding of exactly what this doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
What doesn't work about this? Basically, Apple is going to allow third-party storefronts in the EU, but is also going to make that process so difficult you probably won't do it, and is also going to make that process so difficult and so punishing for developers that no one will do it.
Right.
Except Tim Sweeney has already been out there saying, this fucking sucks, but we're going to put it.
He actually said that. He's like, yeah, we know it's a dick move, but we're doing it anyway.
He basically said, like, yes, we are bringing the Epic Store to iOS, but all of these rules are hot garbage.
Right.
Which, given all their shenanigans over the third-party payment system that's in the US, like
Mhm.
across the world, Apple is just acting with the most bad faith that a company could possibly act with.
Yep. This does not surprise me. Apple always had it in their DNA to be kind of dicks, but now now that they've been sued and they lost, now it's just vindictive dicks.
Mhm.
They just don't care at this point.
Now it's just let's drag our heels for as long as we can.
Mhm. Yep. All right, so next item.
That was the big stuff I had. Oh, wait, that's right. I had one more. Hey, guess what? Guess who loves loot crates? Did you
Who
know that
doesn't love a loot crate?
did you know that loot boxes were still a thing?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's not just loot boxes, it's whether they're predatory loot boxes.
True, true.
Not all loot boxes are evil. I mean, it tells you what's inside the loot box. Yeah. But when you have that RNG and it's like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent of a chance of getting something that it says that you might be able to get, then that's when it becomes predatory, when it becomes gambling.
Well, I don't know if it's predatory or not, but the website CS2 Case Tracker
Mhm.
recently released its 2023 year in review for cases,
Oh,
loot
Detroit
boxes.
Lions scored again.
Ooh.
Oh.
And basically revealed that Valve made about $1 billion
Oh.
in loot boxes
Wow. Does it
last
say
year.
which
Last
games?
no, it says the game. Singular. It's CS2 Go.
Oh
Counter-Strike
my
2 Go.
god. Really?
Or maybe it's just Counter-Strike 2. Counter-Strike 2 was previously Counter-Strike Global Offensive. But yes, Counter-Strike. It's
Whoa.
just for Counter-Strike, and it's just 2023.
What?
They made Not a total billion. They're 20 million off, 980 million. Uh,
God.
but yeah, in case
Oh
you
my
know,
god, that's insane. That's
I feel like a lot of
insane for one game. For one game.
we spend a lot of time wondering like what's going on at Valve. They're a black box. We don't know what they're working on, but they're
They
just
don't
like
need to work on anything. Not when you're making $1 billion off of loot boxes for a game that you made. When did CS2 go
I think it changed from CS:GO to Counter-Strike 2
to?
like a couple years ago. There was a
Right.
big update that did that. It
So
might have
couple they 2 years ago. 2
yeah.
years ago, they took a game they already had, updated it, gave it a new name, and they're still making $1 billion a year on loot boxes of the game.
Mhm. Like it's insane how much
Valve
money
Valve
Valve is
better
just
not lay
vacuuming
off people.
up.
That's all I'm saying. They better not have layoffs, because if they do, that's just fucked up bullshit. Also, Valve's privately owned, right? It's not
Yeah,
publicly owned.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that you aren't that's that's the downside. They don't I mean, that's the upside of privately owned companies. It's the downside of going public is that they don't have to lay anybody off because there's no investors to impress. It's just Gabe and a couple of friends and
Also,
investors,
it's probably
family.
really good that Valve is not publicly owned because if they were, there'd be like pressure to expand, pressure to do other stuff, pressure to put out more games. Whereas meanwhile, they're just like,
We're
we're
happy with $1 billion a year
we're just
on just
chugging along,
this one game. That's fine. We're happy a
chugging
billion.
along, just like we made $1 billion on one game. We're pretty happy.
That is capitalism, sir. That is what capitalism is. Capitalism is you make something, you keep it, and you get to do whatever the fuck you want. Its problem is the stock market. So don't blame capitalism for
Mm.
being the way it is. That is just the way that the market has essentially exploited businesses to the detriment of all workers. And that's not capitalism. Just
I
ask
don't
Gabe.
know.
Gabe's fine. Gabe's living in capitalist wonderland.
No, Gabe is living in a feudal wonderland where
It's
he's
true.
king.
He is.
AC Wraith says Valve needs to define job titles to have layoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of hard to cut the lower class when nobody can define the hierarchy.
Exactly. So yeah, that's yeah. That's why you don't take your company public. If you care about your company and you care about your employees, you don't take the company public. Period.
It's it blows my mind. But it also answers the question of like why Valve doesn't put out a lot of games because they don't have to.
They don't have to.
They are happy putting out one game every 8 years.
And even then, it doesn't have to be that good a game. It just has to be kind of a sort of update. They just have to reskin and put a new name on the old game, and it
I
still
mean,
makes that much
I
money.
mean, to be fair, they put out Half-Life Alyx, which was the VR game, and
Yeah,
it's like received unanimous praise. So like
yeah.
they work on stuff. They
But
do stuff.
Half-Life Alex never doesn't make that kind of money,
Oh
and
god,
never
no.
will.
No. Half-Life Alyx throughout its lifetime, from the day of release to the heat death of the universe, it will not it will not make $1 billion.
True. All right. So anyway, next item. God, I
That's all I
forgot
have,
how much commercials are on television. I never watch TV anymore. Holy crap, there are a lot of commercials on television,
right?
even on sporting games.
Oh, especially sporting games, especially football.
Oh God, it's just awful. It's like every time I look over, it's a new commercial.
Mm,
But what the fuck is this? Oh, I want to see this.
Animal Control, I've wanted to see that.
That looks awesome.
I haven't watched it yet, but I found the commercials that I've seen of it amusing.
Yeah, it's Joel McHale and what's his bucket? Oh yeah, I see that
Yeah.
absolutely being awesome. All right. Anyway, moving right
Oh,
along.
yeah, and AC Wraith mentions they put out the Steam Deck.
Yeah,
So, like, they do stuff.
they do
They do
stuff,
stuff.
but they do one thing. They do it very, 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 very well, and then they move on.
They
And
also
it
have they
doesn't
also
have to take over the world. It does not have to be purchased by every single person
yeah.
in the world for anyone to consider it a success.
They have the luxury of being able to put out something that can fail.
Yeah.
And we saw that with that fucking trading card game. Artifact? It was a digital trading card game based off of Dota.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
right.
it just flopped. It just went so bad that they then went back and like completely re-engineered the economy. And then after re-engineering the economy, they're like, yeah, this still isn't
This
working.
still
We're
doesn't
just
work.
shutting it down.
Yeah. Yeah, they're allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, owning everything outright, not having to serve other masters in the industry, in finance and not having a massive amount of debt gives you luxury within everything in your world.
Yeah.
You get the option of choice. You get the luxury to fail. So, anyway, moving right along.
Well, my laptop pumps out hot air in the back behind it,
Mhm.
and Jupiter has just now figured that out. So he's just
Oh.
like sitting in the back of the laptop, just like, ah.
Cats are just like heat sinks.
Mhm.
All right, anything else? You've already Xbox introduces the Indie Selects page.
Yeah, did that.
Valve,
Yeah, we
Nintendo,
just did that.
Apple, Halo. Yeah, we did it. All right. So currently, uh Lions have the
Let's
ball
see.
on
Looking
the San Francisco 40-yard line. First and 10. Oh, sacked! Sorry. So yeah, but still we're 14 points back. So, but it's not even the halftime yet. So 49ers
yeah,
have always been a
AC
second
Wraith
half kind of the team anyway.
AC Wraith put this story in the Discord, and I wanted to read it but didn't, because it just sounds like fun. There's a 404 media article. These are the notorious NSA Furby documents showing spy agency freaking out about embedded AI in children's toys.
Oh, I have to read that.
Right? That sounds fascinating. I have the tab open, but I didn't read it, and it didn't seem like a immediate gaming related thing.
And you're
So
still not going to let me I'm still going to leave sometime within the next 23 minutes. You're more than welcome to continue on this show, but I'm not for 23 minutes.
see, if I had actually read the article, I could probably talk about it for another 20 minutes.
You
But
probably could,
unfortunately, I
but you'd
did
be
not.
doing it by yourself. So, do you want to play tonight?
Um,
Or do you want to continue on with Prince of Persia?
I was thinking I
Or
would
do you want to
continue.
jump up Power World?
I was thinking I was gonna play Power World,
You
but
know what?
then I'd have to up my Xbox subscription.
Yeah, I know. That's the downside. Or you could do what I did. By the way, Fubo TV is where I'm watching this game right now,
Oh yeah.
and I did the free trial. They're getting smart. You know how
Mm,
long their free guess how long their free trial is?
20 minutes.
2 days.
Ah,
So I have to cancel it instantly after this game.
they they know what people are doing. They know you're just watching one game.
They do. They absolutely do. And I have 7 emails.
Yeah,
And a bunch of different credit cards I can put down so that they won't know.
yeah, that's right. Because now every time you want to sign up, you got to use a different email.
Yeah, I got a bunch of credit cards. I got a bunch of cards. They're not gonna coppers can't catch me.
Oh, AC Wright says this groundhog will be a year older next show. Happy
Really?
birthday!
Happy birthday. And when is the next show? The next show is on when is your birthday?
He says by next show, so sometime within the week. The next show
Yeah.
will be the 4th,
Yeah.
February 4th.
So when is
Happy birthday!
your birthday? So do you want to upgrade your Xbox or you just want to play by themselves? Oh, it's going to be on Groundhog Day, February 2nd.
Oh,
Oh, happy Groundhog birthday.
Nice. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm loath to give Microsoft an extra $10, especially if I forget about it.
We're not going to forget about it. We're not going to forget about it.
But it would be fun to play some.
Well, you could do it tonight. Get your feet underneath you to figure stuff out, and then maybe tomorrow night.
Yes, let's do that. Let's play
Okay.
tomorrow night. That way I can practice with my pals.
Do you all want me to stream it tonight? My own game, my own private game. I can do that, or you can just wait to do it tomorrow night. So, can't blame me for more winter if I leave the house to see my shadow. I don't. I won't.
I will.
All right. So what do we got here? What do we got here? All right.
A replay?
A replay. Was this a long? Oh, that was probably the one that actually got him downfield onto the 40. Anyway, do you want to watch tonight, or do you want to watch tomorrow, or do you want to do both? You guys make the call. You got 35 seconds in football time to answer that one.
I mean,
All
that's
up to you.
that's like 5 minutes.
No, it's probably about 4 minutes.
It's
3 to 4
very
minutes.
specific.
Yeah, 3 to 4 minutes. Well, actually, no. 35 seconds, probably one more play, 2 tops.
Wait, what's
Up. We got a penalty on the field, and I guess nothing happened.
what's the word? Not inning. Quarter.
Quarter.
What quarter is it?
It is second quarter.
Oh, okay,
45
yeah.
seconds from halftime.
No, but that's right. They get their
30
timeouts back after halftime, right?
They get another set of timeouts. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're absolutely going to burn through as many timeouts as they have.
I don't see that they have any timeouts. No. 30. Here we go. Up. Oh, yes. And they don't have to burn a timeout because it was an incomplete pass that went out of bounds.
Okay.
That
But I'm
doesn't
just
burn
saying,
time.
I think 49ers will probably burn.
See,
as
I
much.
do know football. I don't like football. I'm a conscientious objector of the NFL ever since Michael Vick. And that I have not supported, nor have I really followed the NFL. I'll follow the 49ers when they're playing like championships, but I absolutely know football. A lot has changed though since I played. You're still not going to get me to speak for another 17 minutes. So it's up to you guys. Wow. Is it complete? Yep, looks like it was complete. They may get another touchdown out of this. I'm making the screen, this window, very, very small. Yeah, no. Go Lions. I knew there was going to be somebody out there who's a Lions fan. Yep. All right. So then now they can punch it through. They got 28 seconds. Yeah, they're fine. Are you watching it on the little teeny tiny screen?
I am.
Yeah.
They can get this. I've
Oh. That was very touchy for being interference.
I've gotten more into football in recent years. But just like the game aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I found the best thing to do after a game airs on the NFL's YouTube channel, they put out like a 10-minute supercut of the game.
Right.
And that is the best way to watch it.
Yep.
It's so awesome.
So today is like the perfect time to go to Costco or to go to IKEA in the Bay Area right now. This is like perfect Costco time.
Oh, because there's a football game on.
Yeah, because the 49ers in the championship game.
In
the conference championship game. All right, come on. I don't want to hear about this. Marin Catholic, UC Berkeley.
See, they got a commercial. Let's see how long this, 26 seconds?
Yeah, they've had they have 35 seconds. They've had 4 plays out of it? Also, everybody's betting on the Lions to win. Yeah, they can do that.
Really?
But, yeah. Answer if she should stream tonight. I'm still on the mend and I can't be counted on to show up. Really? Poor AC Rafe.
Ezio Helsing says she
I'm off
can.
to
I'm
watch.
off and
Okay.
can watch.
Oh! Hit him! Hit him! Oh, now it actually is a punch through. Now it's all coming down the defensive line.
What's the
And they did have a timeout. So yeah, they used that timeout. Got 10 seconds. Yeah, they have one timeout remaining.
what's the word? I can't believe I'm blanking on it. Down? Yes,
Put down is
down.
4th
What
and
down
goal.
is it? Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. Do you think they'll do a field goal, or will they try to get?
Mm.
Will they try to get that like one extra
Field goal. They're going
yard?
field goal. They're going plain and safe. They're smart.
Cowards.
That's smart.
Cowards.
Smart. It's a
Nope.
smart way to play it.
Cowardly.
Thank you for reminding everyone. Patreon. Yeah, somebody's got to pay for this free trial on Fubo that I'm going to cancel the minute this game is over.
Someone's got to pay for this NFL rights violation.
Yeah. We're doing a highlight. It's commentary. We are absolutely commenting on this and decisions being made. This is a smart decision. This is absolutely what they should do. They don't have any reason why not to do this. Those 3 points could come back to bite them if they don't get it now. If they went for the 4th and goal and they failed, I've seen more games than I would like to admit in my lifetime when those 3 points, the fact that they didn't get those 3 points, made a difference. And they're already up by 14 now. So this puts them at 18. This forces us to get 3 touchdowns in the second half in order to beat them.
That's a lot.
Yes. Whereas before, 2 touchdowns would have tied them. That would be 1 touchdown in each quarter. That's possible. 3 is not impossible, but it's a hell of a lot harder to do. That's why that 3 points was so important. There's Discord. All right. So I am gonna stream. Yeah, we'll watch the 7 seconds. We'll watch the return on the kickoff. But it's gonna be it's gonna have to take a miracle, but it would be an awesome way. Those are my favorite moments when they're like, it's over. And then except for that one play, and 49ers were very good at that. Very good at spoiling somebody's party. And nope. Okay. Get behind the line. Nope, it's over. Oh. That, depending on what that penalty was, that could be something. They could put seconds back on the clock because of it.
Do you know who started with the ball? Who won the coin flip?
I have no idea.
I'm wondering if 49ers will get the ball back after halftime.
That's a good question. I don't know who's going to get the ball after halftime. I am very much watching that. I have 11 minutes, 12 minutes to get off the show. I'm not letting this go. Hurry up, chat it out. If it's against the 49ers, it's over. All right, here we go. It is interference against the 49ers. Yeah. Oh no, was it interference against? No, it was interference against the Lions. So yeah, so they get 2 seconds back on the clock. Oh wow, he's actually not in bad place. This could be good. This could be really good. This could really. Oh, it's looking the other direction, and they're just going down. 49ers, they just went down. Yeah. All right. Halftime. I am going to stream tonight. I will stream. Let's see what time is it right about.
Short.
Yep. 5:00. I'm gonna probably start streaming about 6:37. I'm gonna eat, pee the dogs, pee myself, and then stream. I might even eat while I stream. So keep your eyes open for it.
Okay, and
it's gonna be on Twitch. So if you're watching this on Twitch, great. If you're not watching this on Twitch, then go over to Twitch. It is the GameHounds on Twitch.
And we'll do both of us tomorrow.
Both of us tomorrow on that same spot. And what time you want to do that tomorrow night?
Let's say 7:30.
7:30 sounds
Give me
fine.
time to eat dinner.
The Lions need luck. No, it can't. The Lions need to
To
win. Fuck
win?
Taylor Swift.
But wait, Taylor Swift isn't even with the 49ers.
No, it's not. That's not the 49ers. I forget who she's dating somebody. And I think she's dating somebody
The
on the
Chiefs?
Chiefs. Yeah. I think it's somebody on the Chiefs. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that crap. Like I said, I don't follow. I do not follow
Football.
football. I know it, but I don't follow it. See y'all in a little while. Have a good one. And I'm not even going
Yes.
to do a closeout. I'm just going to go see you in a bit. We'll see you at 7:00 on Twitch. Head on over there. Twitch is the GameHounds on Twitch. And then, of course, we will be back next week for this show. More news, more commentary. Good night, everyone. Bye.